Welcome back to another FPL deadline stream for Gameweek 14, and the turnaround over the next month is going to be absolutely insane, as it tends to be in the festive period. We already have another deadline on the Tuesday. I'll try to have a deadline stream ready for that, and I'll keep you updated no matter what the case is. And of course, even tomorrow, there could be a team selection video heading into Gameweek 15 already, but let's focus now completely on 14. I haven't made any transfers yet. I have two available, and I've got two major injury outs in Bowen and Watkins, and there's also a few other areas of the pitch I'd like to improve, like the goalkeeper, which I discussed in my team selection video, but things aren't looking too good on the Bowen or Watkins front, and as a result, there could be changes in those positions. I'll be talking about that in this stream. Things change, of course, but ideally, I would like to build upon what I talked about in the team selection video. The captaincy could also change. It's between Salah and Haaland. And then there's Cash versus Lascelles for that final spot in the defensive line. There's so much that could change from what you see on screen right now to the deadline. And so be sure to stay tuned and you'll see what I end up doing. And I'll also go through all your questions and comments in the process. Patrick says, hi Dylan, the week I had enough of going without Salah, so I took a -8. Watkins, Son, Bowen, Gavardio out for Darwin, Salah, Palmer, and Gabriel. Hope it pays off. You're making good transfers in. There's always going to be a risk when you sell players of that quality like Watkins and Son, and even Bowen if he's available. I think Gavardio, despite the good long-term fixtures, I just don't really see Man City defenders, apart from maybe Walker, offering good value. And they're very frustrating at the moment because they concede that odd goal and they're not keeping enough clean sheets to really justify that. But I think getting Darwin, Salah is perfect. Palmer's a good long-term choice and Gabriel is solid. JP says, hi Dylan, start Solanke or Palmer? Now that is a good question. I'd actually favour Solanke this week. Thoughts on Doku and Kudus? Out of the two, I would prefer Kudus. Of course, it's not the same as having Bowen, but he could be unavailable this weekend. As for Doku, he's very explosive, really good to watch. He's very direct, but I think there will be a degree of inconsistency. He could produce a massive return like he did against Bournemouth a few weeks ago, and then he can also produce a lot of blanks in between. Do you play Sky FF? I do, but very casually. So right now I haven't even made any transfers. I haven't even touched my team or looked upon it. If possible, I'll try to maybe rectify it, but my main focus here is FPL because that isn't even sorted out either. Welcome, Arthur. All good. What about you? Thank you very much for asking. Rawan says, Anderson, Lascelles, Archer, Dingra, 2 to start. That is a good question as well. I would go for Lascelles and possibly Archer. Now, a Dingra against Chelsea isn't too bad, but a lot depends on the minutes. Is he going to start or not? I think he will, but that could be a difficult game. I am predicting kind of a narrow win either way or a draw. I think I've currently gone for a 1-1 in that Chelsea-Brighton game, so very difficult one to predict. I think I would go for Lascelles for sure, and then the other one is between Archer and Adingra. Harsh FPL says, hey Dylan, rate my team. So you got Kelleher in there already. Pinnock looks really good this week. Taylor is decent this week as well. Yeah, I think your team is looking solid. Palmer is probably the weak link, you could argue, but when I say weak link, it's more about this week specifically, because long-term, I think he is a good option. So yeah, I think you're in good shape this week. Any players you're really missing? Not really. You've got most of them covered, I think. So yeah, you're in a good position, and you've got that Kelleher defensive coverage. You don't have Tsimikas, so I think that makes perfect sense for you. Yeah, that's all good. Phobia Isaac TV says, I have Salah, Saka, Gordon, Diaby, Dingra, and Edouard. I think it's Edouard. Pick one to bench. It would be between Adingra and Edouard. I think I would bench Adingra out of the lot, but a bit reluctantly, to be fair. Cinder says, hey Dylan, 2 questions. Start 2. So from those defenders, there's Sidindra. I would go for... Oh yeah, and you've also got Archer. I would go for Taylor and possibly... It's a very difficult one, but I think I'd go for Mikalenko. Number 2, already sold Kudus to Mbumo. Thoughts on taking a -4 to sell Watkins if he's out to Nunez Isak? Yeah, if he's out, then I would do it. But if we don't get any confirmation either way, and let's say Watkins is still a doubt, I just keep him and not take the -4. But as you say, if he's officially confirmed out and we could get a lineup or a leaked news about Watkins, then yeah, I think that's completely fine. Either Nunez or Isak is a good choice. It's a difficult one because I think if you want to buy Watkins back, it might be best to get Darwin Nunez in as a short-term punt for the next 3. Then you can make that reverse switch heading into Game Week 18 when Darwin faces Arsenal and Watkins has Sheffield United at home. But Isak is a better long-term ploy so long as Wilson is out. So it's a difficult one. I don't think it's a easy Nunez or Isak, choice. But yeah, I think I would take the -4 if Watkins is indeed out. FPL Noack says my wildcard is Raya, Sanchez, Saliba, Pedro Porro, Simicas, Pinnock, Lascelles, Salah, Saka, Mbeumo, Gordon, Palmer, Haaland, Nunez, Isak. Thoughts? So let me just double check something real quick. So yeah, you have a lot of squad depth, don't you? You've got the 5 midfielders and you've got the 3 forwards, and it's mainly because you've got 2 budget choices in the midfield. So that makes complete sense. But I think that's a good plan with all the quick turnarounds, possible rotation in the festive period. So I think that is a good way of tackling it. But you will have benching headaches no matter what. Even if you're in a good position and if you need someone from your bench to come in, you're going to have that squad depth. It can be a problem at times. So just be prepared to stomach some big benching points. That's going to happen inevitably. I think the 2 goalkeepers are probably the best if you look at the next 5 to 10 game weeks. I'd personally just go for Raya and Areola. I think they rotate very well too. But you can go for Sanchez. That's completely fine. Your defensive line, I think that's pretty much what I'd go for on the wildcard. It's very similar. I actually discussed that exact same defensive 5. The midfield 5 as well, very solid stuff. And if Bowen is still going to be an injured out, then I think Palmer's a good substitute for that. So yeah, it's identical to what I discussed in my best wildcard team video, and I'm on board with it, to be fair. Just be careful about the benching points. It's going to happen, and you're going to have a bit of luck needed in order to navigate and pick, the best 11 every single week. What do I do if I have Mitchell, Gay, Hwang, and Watkins if my bench is crap? Well, I would sell a Palace defender anyway, because after Bournemouth at home next week, you've got the likes of Man City, Liverpool very soon. The fixtures are pretty poor there for Crystal Palace. So I think selling a Palace defender is very simple. Hwang Hee-chan is still fairly decent. I don't think you need to sell him just yet necessarily. I know he faces Arsenal now. And as for Watkins, that's the big question. So we could get an update. I think it's very likely that we will, about Ollie Watkins. So if we do, and let's say that Watkins is available, then of course he's going to be a keep. If he is ruled out, then he has Man City and Arsenal, then I would sell Watkins, and that would be the priority. So selling Watkins and the Palace defender. So it all depends on that leaked news we get about Ollie. Who's ready for a 7-week December? Yeah, I'd say I'm ready. Yeah, I'm ready personally, but it is a quick turnaround. There's a lot of content to go through, and the next week or 2 is very busy for me anyway, so I'm going to have to find a way to schedule and navigate all that. But yeah, bring it on. Top 5 captaincy picks, says Ronnie. Salah or Haaland for first, and I'll discuss that later on in the stream too. Then I'd look at Mbeumo, Saka. Number 5 is where things get a bit interesting. It would have been maybe Bowen or Watkins, but with their injury doubts, I'd be tempted to look elsewhere. So I think the top 4 is quite simple. Number 5, Gordon is a shout. He's got a great home record, and Man United have been struggling defensively. Yeah, I think number 5 is where it gets a bit more difficult. Maybe I would look at someone like Darwin Nunez there, potentially. Pinnock or Lascelles? This week it'd be Pinnock. Long term, you'd probably still say Pinnock as well, based on fixtures and also the fact that Botman could be back very soon. J-Wall10 says, did Diaby to Mbeumo and Watkins to Isak for free. I have Alvarez to come off the bench for Bowen. Yeah, good transfers. So I don't think you should be worried about that. Isak is a short-term punt. To be fair, he also looks good up until Game Week 18. And if Wilson is out until then, I think Isak is a good medium-term option. The deadline, is at 1:30 p.m. UK time, and that's why I'm streaming 2 hours beforehand. Arthur Lau says, Mbeumo or Diaz for Rodri? Mbeumo still. Or Mbeumo and Diaz for Rodri and Bowen -4. Difficult one. I'm still kind of unsure about Bowen. I have a sneaky feeling he could be available on start. If that's the case, I'd love to keep him. But it's always a big problem having or carrying a rotation risk or an injury doubt heading into the Christmas period. I would just do Mbeumo in for Rodri and do it for free. Sheriff says, hi mate, start one of Cash, Lascelles, Gay. Lascelles, I think. I'm probably going to change that in my own team. I was tempted to go for Cash, but I've seen some Villa fans, predict Cash to be benched, and that does put me off even more. Adil says, morning, I've held on to Bowen and moved Watkins to Nunez. Yeah, I think that's fair enough. For those of you with both Watkins and Bowen, you'd be inclined to sell one of them because having two players at 50% chance of starting isn't ideal. So I think that makes complete sense. I would argue Watkins is probably a bit more likely to play, but the fixtures are also worse for Aston Villa in the short to medium term. So that makes sense. Share to Gabriel. Yep, I like Gabriel. He's not my favourite Arsenal defender. I think that'd be Saliba, but yeah, Gabriel's a good option. Tarek says I have Pau, Cash, and Diaby. What to do? It's tricky because Cash is generally a better FPL option than Pau Torres, but I'd definitely sell a Aston Villa defender. I know Bournemouth might look easy for some people, but I think Villa have a bad record against them, and it wouldn't surprise me if Bournemouth got a result. My prediction is actually 2-2. So I would sell a Villa defender first, then you can sell Diaby next week, and maybe with your other Villa defender, could be Cash, you could just bench him in most weeks up until Gameweek 18. Any Watkins or Bowen news? No, I'm afraid not. Nothing new since yesterday. All the updates were provided on my channel and also in my recent videos. If we get anything about Watkins, which we should do in around an hour's time, I will let you know. What are you thinking about Bowen to Mbumo? Well, Diaby as well. My ideal transfer would have been Diaby to Mbumo and keep Bowen, but if Bowen is ruled out and we get that news before the deadline, I might just sell him and keep Diaby for one more week. I'm also considering Watkins to either Isak or Darwin Nunez. My original transfer plan as well, apart from Diaby to Mbumo, would have been to upgrade my goalkeeper to David Raya. But of course, the goalkeeper is the least important position in FPL and it's got the lowest ceiling. So I might just focus my efforts and transfers on the outfield positions. Feremi says, I transferred out Watkins to Isak, have one free transfer. Should I do Burn to Trippier or James? Well, Reece James is suspended. I wouldn't go to him, to be honest. I'd rather just go to Trippier anyway. Newcastle have a better defence. Trippier is a bonus points machine. He also has the odd assist. So yeah, I'd rather go for Trippier. No changes so far. I already discussed this at the beginning of the stream. I'll talk about it later on as well. Singh says, hi Dylan, thoughts on Zinchenko double Arsenal defence versus Tsimikas versus any defender option? I do like the defensive double up in Arsenal, but I think I'd rather go for Tsimikas just to vary things a little bit because over the next couple of weeks, yeah, over the next two, it looks good for Arsenal defensively, but then you've got Aston Villa away. You've also got Liverpool at Anfield in Gameweek 18. So, yeah, I think I'd rather go for Tsimikas. Alan Todd says, I am bringing in Haaland for Watkins. Who should I remove to make money? Son will go down to Palmer or Foden will go down to a 4.3 million. Son to Palmer would be the one. I know Son is still a good option, but in order to afford Haaland, I would make a exception for that, to be fair. Gordon, Palmer or Sterling? Gordon. I think I'd rank in the way you said it. So Gordon first, Palmer second, and Sterling third. Maguire to Pinnock, Bowen Diaby to Mbumo. Yeah, good transfers. I like that. I think with Maguire, yeah, you take the points you got from the last couple of weeks and run. And I think Pinnock is a good option this week. Bowen Diaby to Mbumo. For me, ideally, it'd be selling Diaby. But if Bowen is ruled out, and you've got that injury doubt still heading into the next couple of weeks, it becomes very difficult. I discussed this in yesterday's Trans Tips video, and for me, Bowen was a hold, but if we don't get any, positive update by David Moyes, and we didn't, then it becomes really difficult to justify that. Watkins on 50%. I did Watkins to Haaland -8. Darwin and Archer are my other attackers. Yeah, that's all very good, to be fair. I think that's all solid. Ariola or Flecken, says Barry. I'd rather go for Flecken this week. Cash is playing. I'm honestly not sure. Some predicted lineups I've seen don't have Cash. We do have almost 200 people watching. Let's be sure to rack up the likes because, yeah, it costs nothing and it also helps out the channel very much. Chris Wood could be a decent option in certain weeks, but not really too interested. If you want a striker, obviously Watkins, if he's fit, is great. But apart from him, you've got Isak and Darwin to choose from. At a cheaper price, I'd probably still look at Solanke, Ferguson in certain game weeks, but yeah, I'm not a big fan of Chris Wood, to be fair. So Eze, yep, I discussed this in yesterday's Trans Tips video. I'm not going to delve into that too much, but yeah, I think he's a sell. Does Soufal play? I believe so, but I'd have to double check and see if there's any updates from West Ham team news. John says, good morning, Dylan and channel members. Is my team finally coming good? Kelleher, Saliba, Gabriel, Tsimikas, Anderson, Salah, Sakin, Boomer, Palmer, Haaland, Solanke selling Eze next week. Yeah, your team is in good shape, and even with the Eze injury, your team is well prepared for it. It's interesting because you have two defensive double-ups in Liverpool and Arsenal. That looks good for the next 2 to 3, but beyond that, There will be weeks where you'd want to diversify your defense, John, so just be careful about it. But I do like the defenders and defensive line you've picked, so all good. And also you might want to sell Anderson after Game Week 15, so good position to be in. I think the defense is the main worry, but your attack, especially your midfield, is very well set up. Bowen isn't available as far as I'm aware, unfortunately. He's just still in my team because I haven't made my final transfers. What's your opinion about Hwang? Decent budget option. I still like him. And when Pedro Neto comes back eventually, I think Hwang will become an even better FPL option. But I think Gordon and Palmer are even better around 5 to 5.5 million. So the way I'd rank it is Gordon first, Palmer second, and Hwang Hee-chan third. Punjabi says, hey Dylan, I have 3 fives to put out. Eze, Bowen, Watkins, please advise. Well, Eze is the biggest 5 to put out because he is officially ruled out and he's going to miss the next couple of weeks, and that means he's missing 5, 6, 7 matches. So yeah, I'd sell Eze first. That's the biggest priority. After that, just take your pick between Bowen and Watkins who to sell. Would you rather buy a forward or a midfielder? Depending on your answer, that's who I'd sell potentially, but Eze has to be sold in my opinion. After that, it's up to you what you do with the other two. But yeah, if I had to pick between Bowen and Watkins to sell, it probably would be Bowen, but it's a very difficult one. Really, really difficult one. I did Bowen to Luis Diaz. Thoughts? Yeah, I think Diaz is decent for the next 3, but if I'm being completely honest with you, I do prefer Darwin and Salah from the Liverpool attack. And I also prefer other midfielders like Mbeumo, Gordon, Palmer, Son, Saka, Salah, etc. instead of Diaz. But he's not a bad option, of course. I'm not saying that. And I think he could do well over the next 3. It's just not someone I'd like to have for the long term. What do you think about Jesus? Great in UCL Fantasy. Fantastic record in the Champions League, but just hasn't been able to translate that to the Premier League, where teams also defend very deep against Arsenal. So I wouldn't really look at Jesus, to be fair. If you want an Arsenal attacker, just go for Saka. And then in terms of forwards, Darwin and Isak would be even better than Jesus in FPL terms. Start Alvarez or Palmer? Great question. I'd go for Alvarez this week. Watkins to Isak? Yeah, I think that's a solid transfer. If you can do it for free, I'd probably do it. Turner to Liverpool goalkeeper? Yeah, you don't really have anything to lose, but it is a short-term punt. Bear that in mind for 2 to 3 game weeks, which, to be fair, is ideal because after that, they have some tough games like Man United and Arsenal. Hi Dylan, who to bench, Rodri, Wissa or Chris Wood? I wouldn't bench Wissa against Luton Town at home. So I'm looking at that list and maybe Rodri. I mean, he can pop up with a goal in any game and he's very clutch for Man City. But yeah, probably Rodri. Sell Bowen for Palmer or Gordon, and why? I mean, I'd go to Gordon, and the reason why is because Bowen is an injury doubt. You don't want to carry injury doubts into the Christmas period. Gordon's playing every single minute. He can play up front as well as on the left wing. He's Newcastle's best attack at the moment. There's a lot of different reasons why, and he's also cheaper, gives you extra money. And I also think in terms of Gordon versus Palmer, Gordon offers you more goal threat from open play, far more. Palmer hasn't scored a single goal, which hasn't been a penalty. So I think that all does play a part. Start 2 of Tsimikas, Akanji, Watkins. As bad as Spurs have been defensively, they still are pretty threatening on the attack. So I'd go for Watkins and Tsimikas, and if Watkins comes on for a 1-pointer, so be it. But I'm not really expecting anything from Akanji. Your opinion about Wissa? Probably hold him for this week, but long term he's still a sell despite the good fixtures, and Mbeumo's the attack you want to go for. Haaland versus Salah, captain choice. I discussed this all week, and I'm still currently on Salah, but I'm really tempted by Haaland against Spurs because Emerson Royale and Davis playing as centre-backs. And to be fair, Davis has been pretty good in that position. Emerson hasn't been too bad either. But yeah, that defence against Haaland and Man City, it could be carnage. And with that high line, if Ange is going to be naive and stubborn, not adapt a little bit at least his tactics, then it could be 4-5-6-1 in my opinion. Honestly, I really think that. So yeah, I think Haaland is a great choice, and it just really depends on how you think both games go. If you think Liverpool will struggle a bit against Fulham, it could be a bit tighter than people expect, then I think just go for Haaland because that game will naturally be a bit more open. Any news on Foster and his mental health? No, I did see that I think a month ago, Burnley did a great video and initiative about it, so hopefully he is better. And he was involved in most goals that Burnley have scored this season, so it would be a big boost for for Burnley for him to come back. So hopefully that is the case soon. Bowen to Southcheck, Watkins to Haaland for a -4. I'm not completely against that. I'm not a huge fan of Soucek, and generally I would tell people to skip him, but he has scored in 5 consecutive games for club and country, and that can't be ignored. And his underlying numbers are also very good. I think in the last 4 game weeks in FPL, he has the most shots of any midfielder, so there's a lot to like. But yeah, I think I'd still rather go for, if you can afford it, Gordon or Palmer instead of Soucek. Lewis Silva says Eze plus Watkins to Mbeumo and Isak for a -4 here, or Eze to Gordon. Eze to Gordon, especially if you have a decent bench option to come in if needed, would be my opinion. Son to Saka or Bowen to Gordon? Tough one. I do prefer Saka over Son, and I've said this all week and for the last couple of weeks now. But out of those transfers, I think Bowen to Gordon is probably better. Start Hwang or Edouard? Probably Edouard. Bowen replacements, Palmer or Sterling? Palmer. Alvarez to Archer and Anderson from Newcastle to Mbeumo. Yeah, I think that's absolutely fine, and I would do it. Now, Alvarez looks good against Tottenham. I think he could score. And to be fair, I said this against Liverpool when he blanked, but I do back Alvarez in these sorts of games where he's playing against the high line, for example. I think that Alvarez could do really well, but generally speaking, I think going to Mbeumo is the right call. Bench Kudus or Trippier? That's a good question. It might sound crazy, but I think I'd rather bench Kudus and start Trippier. Kelleher or Adrian? It'll be Kelleher coming in. I think most Liverpool fans would agree on that, and Kelleher has been playing in the Europa League. Darwin captain? He's probably 5th for me. Like I said, the top 4 is quite... There's a big difference between the top 4 and the rest. So Salah, Haaland and Mbeumo Saka. But then in 5th place, you could argue that Darwin is the next best option. So yeah, I'm not against that. Welcome, LFC. Good to see you. Selling Gay with 5 million in the bank. Who should I go for? Gabriel, Simicas. Good options. Yeah, I think one of those two is absolutely fine. Hey, Dylan, Taylor or Gay to start? I would go for Taylor. I would back West Ham to score still. Thank you very much, Punjabi. As he says, be sure to smash the like button and subscribe for new. Worth getting Gabriel next game week. Still, it's worth it, yeah, but I think the main appeal of getting an Arsenal defender will be now, start him for the next 2, then bench him against Aston Villa and Liverpool. But yeah, I think it's still worth it. Try not to spam the chat. Same with the Darwin captain question. What else do we have? Watkins plays? I can't tell you that, mate. I honestly can't. You know, yesterday and even on Thursday after the news broke out, I would have said yes. I'm a bit less sure now, and let's just wait and see. And we're going to get an update, I think, before the deadline. So it's just best to wait for that before finalising any moves regarding Watkins. Play Palmer or Elanga? Good question. I think I'd go for Palmer. Bench Soucek or Alvarez? Difficult one because Soucek is in great form, but I'd bench Soucek. Don't trust Archer first on the bench, Dylan? Well, no, he was first on my bench last week, only got 2 points, and to be fair, my whole bench was pretty poor, which I'm not really too fussed about, but yeah, I mean, I don't really trust Archer. He's a facilitator and enabler. Thank you, Lewis Silva. Yeah, that's covered. Hi, Dylan, would you take a punt on Jackson? No. And look, Jackson has great underlying numbers, we all know this, but for me, if you're going for a forward, Isak or Darwin, and it might seem very template because so many people from Twitter are doing it or the YouTube community, but in general, when you're looking at casual FPL players and just general managers, you know, their ownership is still quite low, all things considered. So I'd go for Isak or Darwin. No news on Bowen or Watkins yet. Like I said, everything has been covered since yesterday. Thank you, Punjabi, for moderating the chat. Try not to spam, otherwise you're just going to be timed out and your question will definitively not be answered. Vin2411 says, Watkins to Darwin, Eze to Mbeumo, -4 or plus Hwang Hee-chan to Palmer -8. I think that's way too much to do a -8. And as much as I prefer Palmer over Hwang Hee-chan, it's still not worth an extra hit, in my opinion. Watkins to Darwin, yeah, good move. Eze to Mbeumo for a -4. I think that's it. You leave it at that. But with Watkins to Darwin, wait for official news, because if Watkins starts and we get that news before the deadline, you'd probably want to keep Watkins. Eze to Mbeumo, really simple transfer. I'd do it. If the only way you can afford it is by doing Watkins to Darwin, then I'd probably pull the trigger. I'm selling Gay with 5 million in the bank, but I already have Gabriel and Simicas. Fair enough. In terms of other defenders you can go for, Mikalenko is still a decent choice. It gets a bit trickier afterwards because the other defenders I like, such as Trippier and Pedro Porro, are more expensive, but maybe Lascelles is still a decent shout for you. Yeah, I think apart from that, yeah, Lascelles, let me know if you want to go for him, but he'd be another shout for me. Not really. I'm not set on the Salah captain. That's one of many things that can change. I've got 2 free transfers still to use. I've also got Cash versus Lascelles. There's so much to really sort out with my team. And I'm going to quickly sort out my family members' team because they know exactly what they want to do. So, you know, fair enough. That's going to be quite simple. I wish I had that so easy. So I'm just going to sort out that team, and I think it's all good, actually. Yeah, their team is absolutely sorted now. Kind of jealous. It's also looking pretty good. So for that family members' team, I basically took a -4 hit to bring in Mbumo, Darwin Nunez, and Gordon for Diaby, Alvarez, and who was the other one? Diaby, Alvarez, and Bowen. So yeah, I think that's all sorted. Let's see if I can sort out my own team, which is going to be the big conundrum. Thank you to everyone watching. We do have over 200 people watching, so be sure to smash the like button and get this stream to over 100 likes as soon as possible. Who's the best replacement for Watkins, Isak or Darwin? If you want a short-term punt for the next 3 and then sell back to Watkins, go for Darwin Nunez. I think that's the best way to do it. But if you just want someone up until Gameweek 18 potentially, with Wilson still out, then I would go for Isak. It's just really a question of, do you want some for the next 3 or for the next 5? And of course, a lot depends on when Callum Wilson returns. But yeah, overall, who do I prefer? I said Darwin earlier in the week, then I went to Isak. I'm in 2 minds about it. I think it's very close. I think if their minutes are similar, I would rather go for Isak. I think he's better for bonus points. He's also more clinical. But it's a very tricky one. You've also got other factors to consider. You've got Diogo Jota injured, so that does pave the way for Diaz and Darwin to play more minutes. You've also got the Champions League crunch game there for Newcastle, where Isak could be, well, he is going to play in that match, and he could be rested in a subsequent Premier League game. So there's a lot of things to consider. It's not a simple yes or no answer, or Darwin or Isak. But overall, I think Isak will be number 1 and Darwin number 2. It's a tricky one. I might still go for Darwin myself. Gordon or Palmer to Bowen? I'm guessing it's the other way around. I'd rather go to Gordon. I've said this the last couple of weeks. Watkins play or not? I can't tell you that, mate, I'm afraid. Yesterday, I was quite confident he'd still play. I'm a bit less sure now. We're going to get an update, I think, before the deadline. I'm not going to try to repeat that too much because I have said it a lot. So, yeah, let's just wait and see. I think there could be an update in the next hour or so. Reasons to not captain Haaland. Well, look, I'd rather look at the reasons for captaining both of these players, but because that's what you asked, I think with Haaland, the reasons not to captain him, I'm struggling to find them, to be fair. I don't think there's many reasons not to captain Haaland. Maybe just to go for something a little bit different, because in terms of general FPL managers, most people will still captain Haaland. Tottenham are still quite a competitive team, and they could give City a game still if they get their tactics spot on and they aren't just completely left open defensively. You know, sometimes when you look at recent seasons, Leeds beating Man City at the Etihad, Brentford, they have kind of matched Man City, high pressing and high energy, and playing a sort of similar style as Spurs are doing right now under Ange Postecoglou. So you could make a case that maybe Spurs will be tougher than a lot of people expect with all these injuries. As for reasons not to captain Salah, probably just the fact that he started the game the other day in the Europa League against LASK. So that could be a reason why. I think Haaland also has had much more rest. So Haaland played 2 days earlier than Salah, and that does play a part too. And also Haaland plays a few hours later than Salah, so much more rest there for Manchester City. It's kind of a difficult one, I think. I'd rather look at the pros and the reasons why we should captain either one. Taylor or Gay? Taylor, this week. 1 free transfer, would you sell Cash, Bowen or Watkins? I mean, beginning of the week, I would have said Cash all day long, but right now it's very tricky. I think you'd look at selling either Bowen or Watkins, depending on whether you want a striker or a midfielder, or get Kelleher. I'd rather focus on your injury doubts or your weaknesses like Cash. So, yeah, I think you sell one of Bowen or Watkins. Once again, wait for the Watkins update, and then you can make a final decision. If he starts, then just sell Bowen instead. Thoughts on playing Elanga instead of Gordon? I wouldn't do that. I don't know who you change if Watkins doesn't play. If Watkins is out, then, or even on the bench, I think I'd sell him to Darwin or Isak. I think that would be my play. And then my final transfers could be Watkins to Darwin, and then either Bowen or Diaby to Mbuma. And then keep the rest as it is. And also, then I could change the captaincy and Lascelles and Cash. But in terms of the 50-man setup, I think that's what it could look like. Mbuma captain, he's third on my list, but Sal and Haaland are the ones to captain for me. Will Bowen play, though? I don't think so. I mean, it's very difficult to tell. Throughout the week, there were some different sources, like I think the Standard, also some in the knows that were quietly confident that Bowen would be available. Kudus is ill, but yeah, I think he'll be available. I'd very much doubt if Bowen and Kudus both missed out there for West Ham. I have Bowen and Watkins, one free transfer. Bowen to Parma, bench Archer, Gay, and Kabore. Yeah, I think that's absolutely fine. I can see why you're looking to do that, but once again, maybe it could be worth waiting for that news about Watkins, because if he's out and you're keeping him, then maybe you'd rather keep Bowen in that sort of scenario, and then you can get Isak or Darwin. So just reconsider that and wait a little bit longer before finalising your transfer. But it does look good. Bowen or Cash out, one free transfer. I'd still rather sell Cash, to be honest. If you've got good squad depth, I'd sell Cash. That'd be my take on it. Foden plus Mbeumo or Son and Garnacho. Garnacho is a no for me, so Foden and Mbeumo is my preference. Thoughts on playing Elanga instead of Gordon? I mentioned that earlier. It's just a no. I don't think you should entertain it. Elanga's a decent option this season. He's been quite impressive, but I don't think Gordon's blanked in a home game so far this season. He's so consistent, and in these big games, he is delivering. Chelsea, Arsenal, and Liverpool as well. So I wouldn't do that. Diaby or Bowen? Well, Bowen is by far the better option, I think, in this Christmas period. But the problem is he going to recover? That's the big issue. And that's where it makes it difficult. But if Bowen's available, I'd rather have him all day long. Vasco says start one, Porro, Taylor, or Hwang Hee-chan. I wouldn't start Porro against Man City. Taylor. Chance of Watkins to start? Probably 50-50, as FPL says. I think that's pretty much what we're looking at. They'll probably do a late fitness test today, and that's how we're going to find out before the deadline if Watkins will start or not. I feel stupid I got Bowen last week, then sold him this week, FPL sometimes. Well, it is what it is. I mean, this is always the risk with early transfers, which I try to warn people about. I've done early transfers myself, very early transfers, in fact, and, you know, we're all guilty of it, you could say. Look, it happens. You always take that risk when you make an early transfer. I think this season, it just makes sense to wait a little bit, or maybe not this season, but in this particular part of the campaign in Christmas. Now, with the quick turnarounds, you could argue, like, for example, we've got a deadline on Tuesday. You could start making transfers as early as Sunday, basically, and we don't have the Champions League games midweek, but that will be the case in the week afterwards, so just bear that in mind. Let's see what else we have. Start Adingra or Hwang Hee-chan. Probably Adingra. Sahil says, hey Dylan, I have one free transfer. Yeah, like many people, you've got Bowen and Watkins. Your bench isn't too bad, but yeah, I can see why you're looking to do things. You know what I do? I do Almiron to Gordon or Palmer. And you have that cover if Bowen and Watkins miss out. I think that's just a good long-term move anyway. I'd definitely do that if you have the money, Sahil. Play Cash or Taylor? I mean, if Cash starts, then I'd start him, but we don't know that. I don't think we'll get that news before the deadline, so Taylor might just be your safer bet. Anana in goal, not really feeling it. Even after his decent Premier League run, we're kind of reminded of what he could do in the Champions League. I wouldn't go there. And also the fixtures coming up are awful. You've got Newcastle away next. You've got Liverpool away very soon. I just wouldn't go there. Mbeumo captain, 2.8 million rank. Yeah, look, Mbeumo is third for me. I'm not completely against it, but yeah, I'd just rather go for Salah and Haaland. I think their respective teams will score more goals. I bought in Haaland for a -4. Is it worth to rush and bring him a week before? Well, you said you bought him in already, right? I think it's fine. I think against Tottenham, it's worth bringing him in for a -4. Would I completely undo my team and take a -12 or more? No. But I think a -4 is perfectly reasonable. Ado, like I said, I'm not sure. I have no idea if he's going to play. Just wait for the update and then we can discuss afterwards. I can't really tell you because it's just a 50-50. I have a good feeling this week, 200 points for sure. well, 200 is pretty much impossible. I hate to break it to you, but hopefully you can get close to that or as close as possible. Play one, Cash, Mitchell, or Taylor. Probably Taylor, just to play it safe. Hi Dylan, Sonto and Boomer taking a -4. Your thoughts, please? Yeah, look, selling Son for a -4 is always a bit difficult, to be honest, but yeah, I guess I'd do it. It's just tricky selling Son for a -4 despite facing Man City. It's just a bit of a tricky one. And also, you'd actually want to keep Son, I think, up until he goes off to the Asian Cup in January. Gordon or Palmer to Mbumo. I'm not so sure if you should sell either one of them, but if it were me, I'd sell Palmer. Saka captain, he's 4th on my list. I think Arsenal versus Wolves will be a bit tighter compared to Liverpool, Fulham, and also Man City versus Tottenham. So, yeah, look, he's a fine option, but considering he has, no goals in his last, since Game Week 7, actually, yeah, I'd rather go for Salah and Haaland, just personally. It's just the way I see it. Son to Saka for a -4. Once again, selling Son for a -4, not a big fan of it, but I think Saka is a good option, and he is a better option than Son for the next couple of weeks. Well, we don't know that, Punjabi. We don't know that unless there is an update, which has come out now. I haven't seen anything about Bowen training or not. If he trained yesterday, then yeah, I'd be inclined to keep him, but I don't think we'll get that news. Watkins to Darwin and Bowen to Mbeumo for free. Yeah, I think that's absolutely fine. I have no problems with it whatsoever. My rank is 9 million due to 80 transfer hits. Should I play risky or safe to finish the season with an average rank? Well, look, 9 million is pretty much near the bottom, isn't it? So, yeah, with transfer hits, I'd be a bit careful when you're taking so many. Just play your game. Play your game. Just obviously be reasonable with it. Don't just take massive hits every single week. I've got a friend who does that, and he does it to jinx the opposition players. Look, in my opinion, just play your game, but in terms of hits, be very careful about it. Just don't go gung-ho taking -12s or more every single week. Taking the odd -4 or -8 is absolutely fine. We've all done it, but yeah, you just got to be very careful about changing your team every single week and making maybe 5 or 6 changes. It just makes no sense, and you're not going to gain anything from it. Play Cash or Pinnock. Pinnock, I think that's very simple. Diaby to Mbeumo and Watkins to Darwin for a -4. Yeah. That's absolutely fine. If we get the news of Watkins starting later on, though, I just keep him and avoid the -4. Son to Mbeumo, yeah, if it's for free, I'm absolutely for it. What are your transfer plans for this week? It's covered in the team selection video. That was my original plan. So I'm still looking to buy Mbeumo for Diaby or Bowen. And depending on the Watkins news, if he's out, I will probably sell him to Darwin or Isak. If Watkins is available, I'll keep him, and then I'll focus my second transfer on the midfield, or probably the goalkeeper position. So let's just wait and see. A lot depends on the news we get later, so I'm just going to wait and see first. Sell Foden to Garnacho? No chance. No. Music Kiwi says, good luck to everyone in December. Yeah, good luck, Music. Bench Cash or share? Well, Cash has a higher ceiling, but he's also more likely to be benched this week, so tricky one. I think I'd risk it with Cash. If it was Trippier, though, I think you know my answer, what my answer would be, but it's tricky, to be fair. I mean, I'm also tempted by going for Lascelles over Cash, so you could make a similar argument for share as well. I don't know. I think maybe I'd lean towards share. Some might find it hard to score Maddison out. Well, it does have an impact in general for Spurs. We all know this, but I still think Son will be good in this Christmas period up until he goes off to the Asian Cup. He's still a good option. He's just not as good as he once was. Son or Ferguson? Well, Son in general is the better choice. This week, I think I'd still go for Son. Diaby or Bowen for Mbeumo? Well, ideally I'd sell Diaby and keep Bowen, but it's difficult because Bowen might not even play, and he might be rested for the midweek game against Tottenham. Yeah, Pranav, but that's what I mean. There's no real need to do that, to take so many hits and to keep changing things in your team, because you're not giving your players a time to prove themselves, and you're chasing points basically all the time. So you've got to be patient. When you bring a player in, at least give them 3-4 weeks. Of course, things change. If a player gets injured like Eze, you sell, but you've got to be reasonable about it. Dawn says Watkins to Isak, Nunez, and Bowen to Palmer for a -4. Already have Mbeumo, Saka, Salah, Gordon. Yeah, I have no issues with that whatsoever. Of course, I do prefer Bowen over Palmer in general, but you've got to factor in the injury. So yeah, that's absolutely fine. A -4 Bowen to Mbumo. Yeah, I think I'd do it still. Dylan, I took a -8 to bring in Gibbs, White, and Jackson and Captain Salah. Good luck. I mean, I'm still not on board with Jackson. Gibbs White is a decent short-term punt, but good luck. Sell Bowen or Chukwuemeka. I'd still rather sell Chukwuemeka, to be fair, but if you don't have squad depth, this could be an issue. But yeah, I'd sell Chukwuemeka, go to Gordon, Palmer, or even Hwang Hee-chan, Soucek, take your pick. But yeah, I'd keep Bowen there. Start Hwang Hee-chan or Lascelles. Pick 3, says Jamil. I'd go for Tsimikas, Gabriel, and Taylor. I think Son can hurt Man City. Yeah, exactly. He's got a good record against them as well. I think Spurs could be battered in this game, but you'd still expect Spurs to get a goal. Thank you, John. As he says, smash the like button. It really helps us out. Thank you very much. Start 2, Bowen, Watkins, and Nketiah Lascelles. Well, I wouldn't start Nketiah, to be honest with you. I just start Bowen and Watkins and have Lascelles first on the bench. I'd play Martinelli. They're limitless. Start 3, says Yusuf. I'd go for Saliba, Lascelles, and probably Gay. I think that's what I do. Hey Dylan, please advise Areola, Turner, Trippier, Cash, Gabriel, Tsimikas, Kabore, Salah, Diaby, Mbumo, Son, Bowen, Haaland, Alvarez, Mabama. Yeah, so with your team, I mean, the goalkeeper, ideally you'd want to upgrade that, but there's other fires to put out. You don't have Watkins, but you do have Alvarez. So I think what I'd do in your situation, yeah, I would downgrade either Diaby or Bowen to Gordon, and then use those funds to upgrade Alvarez to either Darwin or Isak and do it for a -4 there, Prince. Thoughts on Colwell and Sanchez in Gameweek 16? I talked about Colwell yesterday. He's a skip for me. Robert Sanchez is okay, I guess, as well, but I'm not really on board, to be honest. Welcome, Lul. Cash, Trippier, Gabriel, which one to bench? Cash. I want to get in Isak. How long is Wilson out for? As things stands, it looks like he's going to be out for the next couple of weeks, so it could be up until Gameweek 18. So Isak's a good option until then, but he could still be benched because there is that crunch game against Milan in the Champions League to also think about. Start Hwang or Gay. I'd probably go for the upside in Hwang Hee-chan, but it is up against the best defense right now. Palmer or Kudus. For this week, it'd be Kudus. Overall, probably Palmer. What do you think of Elanga for a 5 million defender? Just not for me, to be honest. Watkins, Bowen out, Darwin, Saka in. Yeah, I think that's pretty sensible. Start Darwin or Bowen? I'd start Darwin, but to be honest, you could always start Bowen for someone else and then have that bench cover if needed. Hassan says, hi, Cash to Saliba or Alvarez to Isak? I think the one with the highest upside is Alvarez to Isak. Saliba's a good long-term choice as well. If I'm making a move this week, though, I think it'd be Cash to Saliba, and then I'd bring in Isak or Darwin next week for Alvarez. The Samuel Beer says, I've got Watkins, Darwin, Haaland. Could it be worth selling Watkins for Solanke for the next 6 weeks? To be honest, though, I can see what you're doing, but I wouldn't really prefer having Solanke over Watkins for the next 6. I think Watkins outscores him, so difficult one. If it was Isak or Darwin, I'd reconsider, and you can still upgrade Johnston. But yeah, my answer would be going for Isak instead of Solanke. Cash out of Lascelles. Yeah, I'm looking to change that, I think. Once again, there's a lot of things that could change in my team, but I'm probably waiting for news. Triple captain Salah Haaland, not a bad shout. I'm not against that, but I think there'll be better opportunities later in the season. That's why I'm not doing it myself, but it's not a bad shout. Tossing a coin for Salah versus Haaland for captain. No, but sometimes I have those sorts of ideas. I've got a coin, I think, at hand. So maybe I will. It's an Arsenal coin. Apologies, but yeah, I might. I got it ready, just in case. Thank you for that. Sell Watkins for Isak for a -4. I'd only do that if Watkins is ruled out or on the bench later today. We could get that update very soon. So yeah, if we don't get that update or it looks like he's starting, I would just keep Watkins. Start Cash or Taylor? Probably just Taylor. Keep it simple. Bowen to Mbumo. Also have Saka, Son, Salah in the midfield. Yeah. Look, as much as I like Bowen and I'd like to keep him long term, that'd be the ideal scenario. If you don't have Mbumo and you don't have another route to get to him, yeah, I'd sell Bowen. I think that's the way to go. Watkins, Archer, plus Bruno, Isak, plus Højlund or any strike on the 7.3 million plus Mbumo. Oh, okay, so it's a trio question. I'm just not a big fan of the 9 attackers, mate, but if I had to pick, it would be Watkins, Archer, and Bruno. It's difficult because the Mbumo one, I mean, he looks great, of course. Any strike under 7.3 million, yeah, I can see your dilemma. Honestly, I'd go for Watkins, Archer, Bruno. But I'm just wondering, can't you do Watkins, Archer, and Mbumo instead of Bruno? I mean, that's what I'd do. I think that's the best way to do it. Is Bruno to Saka worth a hit? Yeah, I think so. Just a long-term thing, I think it is worth it. Solanke punt, I'm not against it. Look, if you want a budget striker, he's probably your best bet. But I do prefer Isak, Darwin, Alvarez in a few weeks, and of course, Watkins and Haaland. Hey Dylan, just joined. What are your transfer plans? It's pretty much what I discussed in my team selection, but things have slightly changed a little bit. So, yeah, I'm probably not going to try to repeat myself too much, but basically I want to buy Mbumo. I also want to potentially buy Darwin or Isak, depending on the Watkins news we get later on. And if he's available and he starts, then I might just focus my transfer on any other position. Could be the midfield, defense, or goalkeeper. But my original plan was to get Raya in goal. Thank you, Najib. Gusto news. I think yesterday we got an update that he is injured. I'll try and get that for you. So, with Gusto, yeah, it looks like he is ruled out. So he could be available for the midweek game, but it looks like he is officially ruled out. So, yeah, with Chelsea, they might play a centre-back like the Sassy at right-back, so that could be carnage there. Bowen to Saka, yeah, I think that's very sensible and simple. Bowen to Mbumo or Saka? Well, if you're buying one this week, I did rank Mbumo higher than Saka, so maybe I'd go for Mbumo. Overall, who's the better option? Saka for me, of course, but it's just a question of, what you want to do. Can you buy the other midfielder later on? If it's just one or the other, long term, I'm just going to go for Saka. Cash for Gabriel for a -4. Not sure if it's worth a -4. Start Bowen or Diaby? Bowen. Start Rodri or Ward-Prowse? Ward-Prowse. Are Bowen Watkins a sell? It's difficult because I think they're both good options long term, but if you are in a situation where you have no squad depth and both of them are at 50% chance of starting, you probably sell one of them. Then it comes down to what do you want to do? Do you want to buy a midfielder? Let's say, for example, you don't have Mbumo, then you probably want to do Bowen to Mbumo. But if you already have Mbumo or you're happy with your midfield, then maybe instead you'd go for a forward like Isak or Darwin Núñez. So it's a tricky one, I think. But I think the right thing to do would be to sell one of them. Cash and Watkins news. I mean, there's not really much to discuss. Nothing from today, basically. Everything else we discussed earlier. Start Alvarez or Bowen? I'd just start Bowen just in case, but it is a tricky one. Zinchenko or Gabriel? Gabriel is a better option long-term for me. I think Zinchenko will suffer rotation and injuries very soon. So, yeah, I'd go for Gabriel. Do you think Adingra will start? Yes, but I'm definitely not someone to ask about that. I'm not going to have an informed opinion. Start Taylor Archer. Taylor. And no problem, Soldier Boy. Hi, Dylan. Any news for Bowen? No news. David Moyes gave us... well, he didn't really give us an update yesterday. He said the same thing as last week, so not really. Thank you, Soldier Boy, again. Is Trossard a good pick? Not really, because you've got Jesus back now, and Trossard will mainly be on the bench over the next couple of weeks. He will get the odd start, and in those starts, he's great, but you'd need a lot of squad depth, I think, for that to pay off. Bowen to Mbumo for a -4, or Watkins to Darwin for a -4. I'd rather do Bowen to Mbumo for a -4, just because I prefer Mbumo over Darwin, really. Already did Eze to Mbumo. Should I do a -4? Yeah, so if Watkins is ruled out or benched, I mean, I keep saying this, but it really does apply to a lot of questions. If Watkins isn't going to start, then I would maybe sell him and keep Bowen and take that extra -4. Son to Mbumo for a -4. Not ideal, to be honest with you, but you know what? I'd probably say no. My final answer with that, I think I'd say no. Because Son can still do well against Man City, and in the weeks to come, he's got good long-term fixtures, so not for me. I don't think it's worth a -4. For free, yeah, possibly, but not for a -4. How would you prefer, or who'd you prefer? I've been kind of swapping between those two all week. I think overall, if the minutes are similar, it would be Isak, but that is the big problem. I don't think Isak's minutes will be similar. I think he'll have slightly less because I know Wilson is out. But you also have that crunch Champions League game, which Newcastle will focus all their energy on. And with Darwin, you've got the big news of Jota being out for quite some time. So it's tricky. I think for a short-term punt over the next 3, you go for Darwin, as long as you want to go back to Watkins before Game Week 18. But if you're not going to go back to Watkins and you want someone up until Game Week 18 and Wilson is still out, you go for Isak. So it's a really tricky one, but I think if I'm to buy one, it probably would be Darwin, if that's just my own team situation and what I'm looking to buy and my plans later on. Thank you to Samuel Beer. I appreciate that, and good luck with this week. It's going to be a tricky one to navigate. Would you rather Bruno to Saka -4 or Diaby to Mbeumo -4? That is a tricky question. Wow. I mean, ideally, you are going to do both of them, aren't you, eventually? So it's just a question of timing. Based on the fixtures and how I think they're going to go, I think I'd rather do Bruno to Saka. Just because I think Man United against Newcastle, I don't know, I just don't really see United doing much in that game. Maybe scoring a goal. I could be wrong, of course. And Bruno has been in decent form, but yeah, I think Bruno to Saka -4. Then you've got Diaby's minute issue, though. It's a tricky one to answer. I think, yeah, I'd probably do Diaby to Mbeumo and then bring Saka in for Bruno for free next week. I think that's probably the one I'd go for, but it's almost 50-50. Then I think Watkins could be benched for Bournemouth. Yep, we'll find out later. Just a rationale. Yeah, of course, that's why if he's benched, I'm looking to sell him, and that would be my plan. And I might just keep Bowen in that instance and sell Diaby instead. So it's a tricky one. It is. Start one, well, it'd be Trippier still. I know Lascelles got the better of him last week, but on most occasions, it will be Kieran Trippier. Diaby, Bowen, and Mabama to Mbeumo, Palmer, and Isak for a -4. Yeah, I'm on board with that. I think that's a great set of transfers. Samyam says, is it worth a -4, Bowen to Mbeumo and Watkins to Darwin? Yes, but once again, wait for more updates. We could get something about Watkins later on today. And if you see anything, let me know, because sometimes something might break and I'm not able to see it, but we can inform each other in the live chat. I'm going to have a quick look now. I don't think we'll get anything just yet, but yeah, let's wait and see. Steve Ennie says, hi Dylan, great content, thank you very much. Please could you help? I'm having second thoughts on selling Douglas Luiz this week. Luiz to Mbeumo and Watkins to Nunez. The midfield is Palmer, Luiz, Saka, Salasson. Douglas Luiz has been good this season. He's on penalties, but the fixtures are poor. You've also got your other midfielders are set. You know, they're really good options long term. You don't want to sell any one of them, especially Saka, Salasson. So I think it's very simple. You've got the funds to do it. Douglas Luiz to Mbeumo, I wouldn't really hesitate at all. Even if it includes downgrading Watkins to Nunez, with the possible benching later today, or tomorrow, should I say, and then also with Man City, Arsenal back-to-back, I think it makes perfect sense. So, yeah, -4, absolutely worth it. Hi, Dylan, do you think Cash starts? Tricky one. I mean, I still think he does, but I'm less sure about it now. I saw some Villa fans saying that he could be benched, and they might be right. So, yeah, I would still say yes, but I'm less confident. Diaby, Watkins to Palmer and Darwin for a -8. Tricky one. I'd say no. I just stick with Watkins to Darwin if he doesn't start, and then do Diaby to Palmer next week. That's what I would do. Start Konsa or Lascelles? Lascelles. Is Jensen starting? I think so. I think so. I'll double check that for you, but I believe he will. Let's see if we've got anything here. No. So, yeah, no, he's completely ruled out. So, Jensen could be available by the 9th of December, but he's currently being assessed. He's got a groin, hip, pelvic injury. It's not quite clear exactly what it is, but yeah, no, I don't think he's going to play this week or also in midweek either. Diaby to Gibbs White or Alvarez to Isak or both. I know Gibbs White is looking pretty promising. Good returns recently. You've also got the fixtures for the next 3, but yeah, Alvarez to Isak I think is the best move. Then you could do Diaby to Gordon or Palmer next week. Start 1, Son or Palmer, says Mustafa. I would go for Son still. Yeah, that'll be my take on it. Watkins, Son and Trippier to Lascelles and Boomer and Haaland for a -4. It's tricky because you're selling 3 quality assets. I'm talking about real quality. But you're also bringing in Boomer, who's obviously everyone's cup of tea right now, and Haaland, who is the best option in the game alongside Salah. So, wow, that's really tricky. I'd be inclined to say yes, but there are some things that can go wrong with it. You've got Mbuma blanking in Game Week 18. You've also got him going off to AFCON in Game Week 21. Haaland's blanking in Game Week 18. Lascelles could lose a spot soon if Botman is available in the next couple of weeks. And of course, Watkins will be back, either now, this weekend, or in Game Week 15, and he's a great option regardless of the fixtures. Son is Son, and I think he will bounce back. And Trippier is a great option up until January. So it's tricky, to be honest. I think I would do it this week, considering the circumstances, but I'd also have a route prepared for at least one of those 3 players you're looking to sell. What's your opinions on Sterling and Elanga differential instead of Palmer and Gordon Gibbs White? Yeah, look, I'm not completely against it, but my issue with Sterling is that 1 more yellow and he's suspended. And also with Elanga, do I prefer him over Gibbs White, Gordon or Palmer? No, not really, to be honest. So I always just go for who I think is the best option. And for me, from all of those you said, it's Gordon, then it's Palmer. And look, Gordon's ownership isn't that high. Last week, his return is 13 points. It gained me so much in rank. That was the difference maker for me and the reason why I had another solid week. So, yeah, I think you're absolutely fine with the likes of Gordon, to be fair. If you want to go different, fair enough, but don't go different for the sake of it, in my opinion. Start 1, Lascelles, Livramento and Branthwaite. Lascelles. Just keep it simple. Bernardo Silva and Watkins to Gordon and Isak from -8. Yes, I would do that. Bernardo Silva to Gordon is already fine. I would make that move now. Watkins to Isak, wait for more updates. Ignacio says, ¿Qué tal, Dylan? Un placer verte como siempre. Para introducir a Mbeumo, ¿por quién lo cambiarías? Diaby o Palmer. Y por otro lado, Isak o Darwin por Watkins. Gracias, Ignacio. Para mí, me gustaría quedarme con Palmer, así que vendería a Diaby para Mbeumo. Y Isak o Darwin es difícil porque, como dije en inglés, Darwin es muy bueno para los próximos 3 partidos. Y Isak que mejor hasta la jornada 18, hasta que Callum Wilson vuelve de la lesión. Así que es difícil con Isak o Darwin. Yo creo que si Watkins no juegue hoy, voy a comprar a Darwin. Así que yo voy a decir Darwin y también vendería a Diaby para Mbeumo. Diaby to Doku next week. Please check my team above. I mean, I'll try to, but there are a lot of questions, and also my voice is a bit annoying at the moment. It's still a bit gone. But yeah, I can't even see your team, to be honest. Yeah, I can't see it. Captain Salah or Haaland? I'm currently going for Salah, but that could easily change. Bowen to Kudus or Palmer? Kudus is a good shout, but with penalties in mind and the underlying numbers, I'd go for Palmer. Gordon or Palmer? Gordon. Some news on Watkins? No. When we get it, I'll talk about it, or maybe someone in the live chat, that's probably the most likely thing to happen. They'll let me know, and then I'll relay it to everyone. Best 2 goalkeepers to take on the wild card? Raya and Areola for me. Watkins to Haaland? Yeah. I'd have no issues with that whatsoever. I think Cash will start, but I'm very unsure about it, so I'm not confident. I'm not going to say 90% or something. I'm probably more 55-45 in terms of Cash starting. Hi Dylan, is Kelleher worth a punt? Yes, he is worth a punt, but remember, it's a goalkeeper. His ceiling won't be that high unless he saves a penalty and gets a clean sheet. You're not going to get double-digit returns from him. So, yeah, it's just a solid option for the next couple of weeks, but he has been shaky in the Europa League. Yeah, look, I'm not against Arsenal defenders for a hit long-term, but if you're expecting to buy a defender, whether it's Saliba, Zinchenko, or whoever it is, and expect the hit to pay off this week, that could be a tall order. But, yeah, I'm not against that. Cash or Alex Moreno? Still Cash for me out of the two. Cash Diaby to Taylor and Boomer from -4. Yes. Not a big fan of Taylor. Looks decent this week, but beyond that, I'd probably want to bench him most weeks. If Watkins is out, does that make Diaby a good option this week? Potentially. That's also another conundrum. But with Diaby, look, the minutes aren't going to be there. What you want now in this Christmas period are players that are guaranteed to play 90 minutes. And yes, because of the amount of games now, they could see that reduced to 70, 80, even in the likes of Haaland, Saka, etc. But with these players like Diaby, who already get 60, 70 minutes anyway, and sometimes are subbed off at half time, it's a bit more difficult with them. So I think ultimately Diaby is a sell, but you can always make a case for keeping him for one more week and then selling him against Man City. So it's tricky, I think. But maybe Diaby will be the main striker, so to speak, against Bournemouth. But either way, I expect Aston Villa to struggle. Bruno versus Son versus Anderson, one to start today. Son. Will Cash start? Like I said, I covered that already. I'm not going to go for that again. Bowen, Palmer, or Diaby, Gordon? Good question. I do prefer Gordon out of the lot, but also with Diaby and the fixtures in mind, I think Bowen and Palmer is my favourite duo. Saka, Mbeumo, and Mbama for Martinelli, and was it Anderson and Watkins -4? Okay, so you're bringing those three players in. Yeah, I'd do it. Watkins to Darwin from -4 or Bowen to Mbeumo from -4. I'd do Bowen to Mbeumo from -4 personally if I had to pick between the two. No league news so far, Sing, like we mentioned. Just joining in, what's your transfer plans? I'll cover that later on, to be honest, because a lot depends on the news we get later. So I don't want to repeat myself. My third bench option is Mbama. Is it necessary to replace him with a playing mid forward now, or could I afford to wait till Gameweek 19 or when I plan to play my wild card? Yeah, I can see what you mean there. I don't think it's absolutely necessary. A lot of people will do this in terms of having 15 good options, 13 outfield players and 2 goalkeepers to have that squad depth for the Christmas period. I'm not against that, but I don't think you have to do it, to be honest. I think you can still have that cheap option because it also really strengthens your starting 11. So, yeah, I think you can afford to wait. Taylor or Trippier? I'd still play Trippier. Johan says Bowen, Watkins to Palmer, Isak or Gordon Darwin. Feel like double Newcastle with potentially bringing share in is too much. Yeah, and also considering their crunch game against Milan, yeah, in those sorts of game weeks, it won't be ideal because there could be benching. So, yeah, I understand that. I think if I had to pick, it'd be Gordon and Darwin. And that's what I'm looking to do myself, potentially, if Watkins is benched. Start Kelleher or Areola? Kelleher. Start Lascelles over Gabriel. I got Hwang Hee-chan. I still wouldn't do that personally. I can see why you're looking to do it. Backing Wolves to score a goal. Hwang Hee-chan has scored at the Emirates before. Yeah, I think I'd go for... Look, if you're asking me, I'm going to go for Gabriel, but I can see why you're looking to do Lascelles instead. Would you start Archer this game week? No. No, it's not my final team, like I said. Watkins for Wissa? No. I like Wissa for this week. If you have him, I'd keep him, but I wouldn't buy Wissa at this stage. Yeah, I actually didn't know that. To be honest, with the Under-17 World Cup, the only thing I really, the only thing that piqued my interest is Argentina being Brazil 3-0. Apart from that, not too interested. Who would you bench out of Cash and Mitchell? I mean, I'd still bench Mitchell and hope that Cash starts and gets an attack in return. Ruhan says, from UCL streams, hope your health is better. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm still coughing a little bit, so it is annoying, but, I'm feeling better. It's just the voice. That's the main issue, especially when you need to stream for like 2 hours and record videos every day, but it is what it is, Thank you very much. Salah Haaland for captain. I'm going for Salah right now, but I'm not saying that's set in stone. I think it's very close between those two. It's probably the toughest captaincy choice all season. I'd go as far as to say that. Bowen to Saka and Mbeumo. As I mentioned to someone else earlier, I think Saka is the better option long term. He's kind of just a set and forget option. Mbeumo's better this week. I just go for Saka. Trippier or Cash? Trippier. All day long. -4 Bowen, Cash, Diaby to Palmer, Saliba and Mbeumo? Yes. I'd do that, yep. If you don't have Mbeumo though, actually, you said that already. Yeah, I think that's absolutely fine. I have nothing against that whatsoever. Islam says Cash for Gabriel. Also have Eze and Watkins. Don't know what to do with them now. 1 free transfer. Yeah, I see what you mean there. What to do with him? Well, Eze would be the priority sell regardless, because he's out for the next couple of games, definitively. So I'd sell Eze. If you can, go to Mbumo. If you can't, Gordon or Palmer is absolutely fine. Taylor, Archer, Dallo, who to start in order? Probably the way you said it, to be fair. Kudus or Gordon or Palmer? Gordon. Do we need 11 playing players to cover blank game week 18? Example play, Gabriel against Liverpool. Yeah, I mean, that's why it's very important. With the blank game week, with all these games coming up in quick succession, it's very important to have nailed-on players. And ideally, you'd have Saliba over Gabriel, but Gabriel will certainly start against Liverpool, that's for sure. And I think Gabriel will be rested very rarely, but more often than Saliba, of course. Start Gordon or Alvarez? I think I'd go for Gordon still. Is it worth selling Cash or Watkins? Yes, it is, especially if Watkins doesn't start. Some news on Kudus and Soufal? Not really. I mean, they were ill. I can give you those updates by Moyes, but he is known for not really providing updates in his press conferences. So yeah, Kudus, Alvarez, Edson Alvarez that is, and Soufal all have illnesses. I think Kudus has a fever, Soufal has a virus, and it's all down to a late fitness test. They're at 50% chance of playing, so it is what it is, to be honest. So yeah, we do have over 100 people watching. Let's be sure to get the likes up to 150. That'd be massively appreciated. And yeah, we have been going on for over an hour. We've got just under an hour left until the deadline. Start Anderson, Crystal Palace, or Mikalenko? I think I'll go for Mikalenko. And before I go back to your questions, let's go for some different screens. So in terms of the fixture difficulty rating, Bournemouth are top. Newcastle, Burnley, Chelsea and Forest are in the top 5. You've also got Arsenal and Liverpool just behind them. In terms of the bottom 5, Man City, Palace, Luton Town, Everton and Tottenham Hotspur. Aston Villa also quite low down on that list. In terms of predicted points, let me just double check that. If we look at specifically Game Week 14, Haaland is top with 8.5. Salah is second with 7.4. Then we've got Darwin, Saka, Mbumo. That's pretty much my top 5 in a different order. I've currently got Salah in first, Haaland second. I got Mbumo in third, Saka fourth, and Darwin in fifth. And then we look at the rest: Son, Gordon, Martinelli, Trent, and Odegaard. So that is the predicted points for Game Week 14. And in terms of price changes, we could see Darwin, Gordon, also a few other changes here. If we actually just focus on those going up in price, yeah, Darwin and Gordon would be the ones that could go up, and then a few others could also come to the fore. And those going down, Watkins, Bowen, Callum Wilson, and a few other options as well. Maybe Son isn't too far away from a price drop either. And also in terms of Drafthound, they are suggesting to do Bowen to Mbumo and Areola to Kelleher, as I discussed in yesterday's, or 2 days ago, the team selection video. And then if we look at a stats comparison, a lot of people are asking about these two, Isak and Darwin. It is a close call. Their stats are identical as well. Similar big chances, similar minutes, also similar XG. Shot volume though, I mean, look at that for Darwin. A lot of them aren't on target, but 39 shots is insane. Isak is the more clinical finisher. He's got 7 goals, but Darwin has that creativity as well. Isak, I mean, that's next to nothing in terms of expected assists, big chances created, all key passes. So, interesting one as well. I think Isak is better for bonus points too. But over the next 3 game weeks, you look at those fixtures, I would give it to Darwin Nunez over the next 3. If you want someone up until game week 18, you're not looking to buy Watkins back, then Isak could be your man, with Callum Wilson still potentially out until then. And I think you can't go wrong with either one. You could even go for both at the same time. If you are going for a front 3 in this Christmas period, it would be Haaland, Isak, and Darwin Nunez. And of course, Watkins can always come back to the equation. And then if we look at my original transfer plans and what I discussed in my team selection video, so that's how it would look like in Game Week 15. I was looking to make 2 free transfers, keep Bowen and Watkins, bring in Raya for Turner, and also bring in Mbumo for Diaby. But I might have to readdress this and change my plans accordingly. And now, in terms of some polls I put out on my channel, which defender are you starting? Cash or Lascelles? Let me just get that message off the screen. Cash versus Lascelles. Lascelles marginally winning. It's a very close call. Then these are my final transfer plans, which I discussed yesterday. Watkins and Diaby to Isak and Mbumo is leading the vote. And in second place, it is Cash and Bowen to Trippier and Mbumo. I can do that. I can bring in Trippier for Matty Cash and also Bowen to Mbumo. So I want to see your thoughts. What would you do in my situation? And also, what are you doing with Ollie Watkins? I put a poll out, and almost 50% of you are holding Watkins, 30% are selling to Darwin, and 22% are selling to Isak. In terms of the captaincy poll, I mean, look at this. Salah with 45% of the vote, Haaland with 44%. I mean, it's literally like, I'm not going to go into politics, it's like Labour versus Conservatives. It's literally so close. Brexit, in or out. I mean, it's literally just down to the fine margins. Mbumo's in third, and Saka is in fourth. Then you've got select your favourite transfer, and Watkins to Isak is people's favourite as well. And the last poll I put out, I think, was which midfielder would you rather sell to get Mbumo? But this was almost 2 days ago. Bowen with 55% of the vote, and Diaby with 45%. And that is my big dilemma for the week. Who do I sell between those two? And is Watkins going to miss out as well? Thank you very much, Aviad. Waiting for this all week. I appreciate it. Yeah, let's see how much, or let's see what updates we get now over the next hour or so. Start Watkins or Cash? Watkins. Hi, mate. Have you recovered? Not fully, to be honest, but I'm here and I'm still fine. It's just a typical illness. I'll try to go through your team, but yeah, I'm kind of focused on the live chat right now, but I'll try to go to the Discord server and have a look as well. In order, Baldock, Taylor, or Simicas. Simicas first, Taylor second, and Baldock third. Hey, Dylan, what do you think of Jesus as a shout? Not really feeling it. I like Jesus in UCL Fantasy. I talk about him a lot there. But in FPL, I just think he's far too inconsistent. He's injury prone. And you've also got Darwin, Isak, Watkins, and Haaland, who are even better in FPL. No updates, nothing new from today, so I'm not going to go through that until we get something definitive. Sell Bowen or Diaby? Yeah, that's the problem. If your bench isn't great, then it probably is best to sell Bowen, because with Diaby, you're more likely to get something, either off the bench or if he gets 60, 70 minutes, so it's difficult, I think. Why would you sell Diaby? Well, just because that early benching last week at half-time, you also have the limited minutes in general. He typically is subbed off around 60, 70 minutes. That isn't good going into this Christmas period. And overall, I think Bowen's the better option and more of a talismanic figure for his club. Would you start Powell over Cash mainly for minutes guarantee in hopes for a clean sheet? Well, that's the issue. So Cash has far more attacking potential, but Pau Torres is going to start. With Cash, there is a doubt. So yeah, I think you probably go for Pau and go a bit safer in your situation. Should I sell Cash for Gabriel for a -4? I mean, look, long term it will pay off, but is it going to pay off this week? I'm not so sure. So if you've got Lascelles on the bench or something like that, just play him and don't stress about it. But if you don't have that bench cover, I'd probably go ahead and take the hit. Eze or Estupinian priority sell? Probably Eze. Unfortunately, you can't go to Mbumo, but I think Eze to Gordon or Palmer is absolutely fine there, Weiseng. So yeah, I think I'd do Eze to Gordon or Palmer, and then let's say next week you can do a Estupinian to Saliba or something like that. Without knowing your team, of course, maybe you do have Saliba already or another Arsenal defender. I think you do have an Arsenal defender for sure, but yeah, maybe you have Saliba. Hey Dylan, I have Salah, Saka, Gordon, Diaby, Adingra, and Edouard. Pick one to bench, please. Probably Adingra. Should I sell Bowen for Elanga? No. I wouldn't go to Elanga anyway. I'd maybe go to Mbumo, Gordon, or Palmer in that order. Sell Cash for a Brentford defender? Yeah, I think Cash to Pinnock is fine. I think that's absolutely fine. Yeah, I would consider Zinchenko, but once White comes back into the team and wins back his spot, it's Tomiyasu versus Zinchenko for the left-hand side, and I still think Zinchenko is the weakest link in the Arsenal defence, and in certain games, especially against tougher opposition, I could see Zinchenko being benched. Bring in Hwang Hee-chan or Palmer? Palmer. Thoughts on Trent? He's just not worth the money in my opinion. I think over the next 3 he's absolutely fine, good differential, you can attack the fixtures, but beyond that, I'd just rather go for Simicas up until Robertson returns. Kept Bowen as his fixtures from now until Gameweek 18 are better. Yeah, over Watkins. I think that's a good shout. Start Lascelles or Mikalenko. I think I'd go for Lascelles still. Start 2 of Tarkovsky, Taylor, Lascelles. I would go for Lascelles and Taylor. Gakpo or Diaz or Darwin. I have to get rid of Alvarez for Darwin. Well, from those three, Darwin's the best by far. Then it'd be Diaz, then Gakpo. I know Gakpo did very well in a recent game as well. Is cash a sell if you only own Gabriel, Taylor, Simicas, and 3.9 million defender? Yeah, I think you'd want to bolster that defense for sure. So yeah, I'd sell cash. I would either way. Cash or Jamal Lascelles. I mean, I'm currently going for cash, but I think that's going to change, mate. I really do. I think I'm going to change that. Is a -4 to get Haaland and Tobiasu for Alvarez and Trippier worth it? Yes, just about. Only because it's Haaland you're bringing in, but with Tomiyasu, I'm not so sure if he's a good long-term choice, to be honest. I need your wisdom, man. I have Trippier, Simicas, start Cash or Lascelles for third defense. I think what I'm going to end up doing is starting Lascelles, so yeah, probably that. Will Watkins play? I can't tell you. Just wait for the update because I don't have the inside information. Would you sell Diaby or Ward-Prowse for Mbeumo? Well, Ward-Prowse has better fixtures long-term but plays in a deeper position. If I'm selling one now, it's probably Ward-Prowse. And then you can sell Diaby next week for Palmer or Gordon. Martinelli start? Yeah, I think so. Why Salah over Haaland? I discussed this all week, but it's honestly so tough between those two. I've mentioned all the pros and cons between captaining Haaland and Salah. And look, I really fancy Haaland's chances against Tottenham with that makeshift defence and high line. But I also think Salah in home matches has been so consistent, and facing Fulham, the second worst defence in terms of expected goals conceded over the course of the season. So just take your pick, up to you. I think Salah has the midfielder advantage, the bonus points as well, the higher ceiling in general, but honestly can go either way this week. Would you choose Salah as a captain in the final choice? It's not definitive, I've said this before. I could change to Haaland, just to make that very clear. Get rid of Watkins or hold, guys. Well, at the moment, I am holding, but if I see that he's benched, I think I'm going to sell him to Darwin. Mikalenko, Lascelles, and Cash, choose one. Yeah, I think I'd probably just go for Lascelles in terms of clean sheet chances. Did Diaby to Palmer and Alvarez to Nunez good moves? Yes, they are good moves. I'm absolutely fine with them. Sell Bowen or roll the transfer? Depends. If you've got good bench cover, then yeah, you can keep Bowen. But if you don't have anything at all on your bench, then I think I'd just be inclined to sell him. I have a question in this week, double game week. No, it's not a double game week. Alvarez or Dean? Alvarez. Hi, Bowen, Cash, Watkins to Mbeumo, Zinchenko, and Darwin from -4. My answer would be yes. Just be careful, Zinchenko long term. I'm not so sure if his minutes will be that nailed on. Watkins, Bowen to Mbeumo, Nunez. Yes. I think overall it's worth it. Start Cash or Walker or Baldock. Probably Cash. Just about. Salah needs one more goal to get his 200 milestone. Yeah, it does seem like a good time to get it, doesn't it? Thank you, Chris Asso, for the super chat. I appreciate it. Bench 2. I would bench Baldock and Mitchell and start Lascelles and Cash. Now, Cash could be benched, and that isn't ideal, but I'd still probably favour the attacking potential over Mitchell, where I just don't really see Palace doing much there. So, yeah, my answer would be start Cash and Lascelles. Yeah, I think going about Salah or Haaland this week is obviously super risky. They're the two best captaincy options. Their effective ownership will be insane. Bowen to Luis Diaz or Gordon. Gordon all day long. Who should I sign to replace Kelleher? To replace Allison, you say? Raya. I think Raya's a really good option. News on Mitoma. I think he's available this weekend, if I'm not mistaken. I'll give you the latest update, the official one, word for word. But yeah, I'm pretty sure he's got a chance of starting this week. So the latest we've got on Mitoma, Yeah, I think he's cleared to play. Yeah, he's available. So yeah, that is the latest we have on him. Cash to Saliba for a -4. Long term it pays off. I'll just say yes. Watkins starts for me. Order my bench, please. It would be Taylor first, Archer second, Cash third, I believe. Quite a tricky one. Thank you for the super chat, Aaron. I appreciate it. Watkins to Archer and Son to Salah. If yes, start Archer, Hwang or Anderson, or just keep Watkins and Son and move the RB to Mbeumo. I can see what you're doing there. And of course, it's a great way of bringing Salah back in, but just starting Archer, I'm not a big fan of that. As much as I like Son and I would recommend holding him for most people, I would do those transfers. And after that, I think I'd start Archer. But then next week, I will do Hwang Hee-chan to Gordon or Palmer. And I wouldn't even mind taking a hit for that this week and then starting Gordon now and benching Archer, mate. So I think that's what I'd do. Eventually buy Gordon or Palmer for Hwang, and I'd also do Son to Salah. And in order to do that, downgrade Watkins to Archer. It is risky, but I think that's the way to go about it. What else do we have? How long is Alisson out for? I think he's aiming to return for the Man United game. So for the next 2 to 3, Kelleher should start. Thank you for the next super chat, I think it is, unless I missed it. It has popped up twice for me for some reason. I'm not sure why that's the case, but we have covered that. So thank you very much, Aaron. Have Bowen and Watkins with Archer, Chan, and Trippier bench suggestions. Currently thinking Bowen to Mbeumo and risk with Watkins. Yeah, and also you've got Trippier on the bench. I actually want to start him this week, so yeah, I think that's fine. Bowen to Mbeumo. I have Trippier first on your bench, ready to come in if Watkins is out. Yeah, I think that's fine. Start Gay or Lascelles? Lascelles. Who would you start, Palmer or Solanke? Tricky one, but I think I go for Solanke. Do you think I should hold Son or sell him from -4 for Gordon, Palmer, or Mbeumo? I think I'd just hold on to him. I still have Bowen and Watkins. Who should I get? Already have Mbeumo and Gordon. In that case, I'd maybe be tempted to sell Watkins to Darwin or Isak and keep Bowen for now. I think that could be the play. Kelleher worth a short-term punt, yeah, but in terms of goalkeepers, I'd just rather have a long-term option. So David Raya up until the end of the season, or up until your next wildcard, or make a change much later on. So I'm not a big fan of short-term punts in the goalkeeper position, to be honest. It's not worth it. I'm thinking to bench Cash and start Gabriel, Saliba, and Tsimikas. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. And also, I don't expect Villa to keep a clean sheet. I'm actually expecting a 2-2. That's my current prediction. So yeah, I can see what you mean there. Shivanch says -4 to get Haaland and Maupay, Semenyo, Wood for Watkins and Alvarez. Yeah, in terms of Maupay and Woods, I mean, especially in Maupay's case, just don't expect anything from him. Of course, I can see why you're doing it. The fixtures are good, but the minutes are inconsistent. Maupay's a bad finisher. Semenyo as a budget option is absolutely fine. Yeah, overall, I can see what you're doing. I'd do it, but just be careful with your other forward. I wouldn't want to start Semenyo, Wood, or Maupay in most weeks. Adingra to Palmer worth a hit? I think so. Just long term, you've got that done, and Palmer is a set and forget option. Mitoma captain? No, I wouldn't captain him. Also, Brighton share the goals around quite often, so no. Bowen to Diaz for -4 or play Gay. It's kind of weird because I still prefer Bowen over Diaz, but it's just a question of when does Bowen come back. I think I'd play Gay and keep Bowen. If you sell Bowen, will you not start Anderson over Cash? FPL Villain predicts Cash won't play this weekend. Yeah, I saw that. Like I said, I'm probably going to play Lascelles over Cash. That's probably going to be what I'm doing. I don't think I'd play Anderson, to be honest. I'm expecting West Ham to score. Choose Darwin, but in your opinion, Darwin or Isak for the next 3? It would be Darwin. For the next 3, yeah. You have to look at the fixtures and also Jota being injured. You probably would go for Darwin there. If it's beyond that until Gameweek 18, you're probably looking at Isak. Thank you, Confused, and greetings to you from Macedonia. Would you start Cash or Tsimikas? Oh, Tsimikas all day long. There's no debate about that for me. Start Areola or Johnston? Areola. Is Wissa worth it? For 1 week, maybe. I wouldn't buy him for a long-term pick. First on the bench, Maguire or Taylor? Taylor. Cash or Anderson? Cash this week, but he's also less likely to start. Would you get rid of Bowen for Sterling? No. I'd rather keep Bowen in that case. Start Watkins or Gordon? I mean, I just go for Gordon anyway, but Watkins, in most cases, I'd tell people to start him. And unless we get news that he's benched, that's where things get a bit trickier, and then you either bench him or sell him. But yeah, I'd just go for Gordon. Is Matty Cash worth it today? Not really. I'm only starting him because I've got Lascelles against Man United and I've got Anderson against West Ham away. But to be honest, I think I'm going to play Lascelles over Matty Cash. I'm also expecting Villa to lose the game or to draw and to concede a few goals. So yeah, I think I'm going to go for Lascelles myself. Have Cash first on the bench, but I've still got 2 free transfers available. I'm waiting for news. We've got 36 minutes left for the deadline. Is Botman anywhere near coming back? I think so. I think he's responding well, and he could be back very soon. Yeah, Watkins to Nunes for -4. I'm not against it for the next 3 game weeks, but just bear in mind, we could get an update on Watkins and whether he starts or not in the next half an hour. If that's the case, and he starts, you'd probably want to keep him. Oh yeah, so apparently, yeah, we're not going to get an update, it looks like. Yeah, so I don't think we're getting an update in terms of Watkins. So, yeah, not looking great. Not looking great. We just have to make a decision there. So I think I'm going to put a poll out, see what the general consensus is in this chat. Be sure to smash the like button and subscribe for new. We are making big progress towards 22,000. I think we're only around 300 away from that now. We've almost got 200 people watching, so let's be sure to rack up the likes and get this to over 150. I'm going to put a poll out now, and we're going to go through this. So, yeah, we're only 21 likes away, so be sure to keep plugging away at that. I'm now going to put a poll out. So who are you selling? That will be the question. So it'll be Watkins, Bowen, both. That will be the question. A very simple one. Let's just get this done. Yeah. Stupid adverts getting in the way. All right. All right, so a very simple poll. Who are you selling? Watkins, Bowen, or both? Be sure to vote. It'll be very interesting to see your thoughts. Start Ferguson or Hwang Yi-chan. It'd be Ferguson. Hey Dylan, are there less double game weeks and blank game weeks this campaign? Yeah, compared to last season, there will be, but we could get a double in game week 20. The chances of that happening are becoming slimmer now. We are getting a blank in game week 18, of course. That's already confirmed, but yeah, in terms of double game weeks, it will be less than last season and also the previous campaigns too. So, who are you selling? Watkins, well, was leading the vote. Now it's Bowen. It's a very close. I mean, look at this. I mean, it's honestly identical for all 3 options. So I'm going to let it breathe a little bit before commenting on that poll. But it looks like most people are selling Watkins, it looks like. Why do I feel like both Watkins and Bowen start? It's possible. It really is. They're both integral to their side, so it does make sense. But with the quick turnaround of fixtures, you could make a case that Bowen is rested and primed for that Tottenham game in midweek, and also in the case of Watkins against Man City. I don't think there's really a wrong move of Watkins. If he's out, he'll only be out this week, so easy hold in my opinion. Yeah, of course, but then it's Man City and Arsenal, and even if he does score in those games, the ceiling will be lower. Then you've got Darwin with some plum fixtures over the next 3. But yeah, I do agree that Watkins is still an overall hold in most circumstances, but if he does miss out this week, it's just not ideal. Play 2, Cash, Mikalenko, Gay, Taylor. I'd go for Mikalenko and Taylor. Ferguson, Hwang Yi-chan question was answered, so I'm not going to go through that again. Start Livramento or Taylor. Probably Taylor, because with Livramento, I'm not sure if he even starts. He could, but no Watkins news. I'm not sure if we're going to get it, unfortunately. In the question poll, just add both for a -4. Well, to be fair, in my situation, it's for free, and some people will have 2 free transfers too. So, yeah, it does depend. If it was for a -4, I think that option would be much lower. But yeah, it's really close now. Bowen is the one that most people are selling. I mean, look, I need to get Mbeumo in anyway. It's just such a tricky one, I think. I think what I might do myself, now looking at it, is keep Bowen, sell Watkins to Darwin, and bring in Mbuma for Diaby. I think that's what I could end up doing myself, but going to give it a little bit more thought. Start Lascelles over Taylor, yes. Thoughts on Zinchenko, also I'm not really a fan of Temple and Mbuma. Yeah, I can understand that. In terms of who else to go for, Gordon, Palmer. I also still like Hwang Hee-chan to a degree, so there are other options, but Mbuma's my favourite at 7.1 million and below. Would you do Bowen and Son to Saka and Mbuma for a -4? Tricky one. I can see what you're doing there. I think I would, but in most circumstances, I'd like to keep Son and not sell him for a -4. Callum Jr. says, hi Dylan, Son to Gordon, Watkins to Hannon -4. Only way to Hannon, but I'm worried about selling Son. I understand that. Son to Gordon. So yeah, I think I'd do it, yes. I think I'd do it. Play Lascelles or Taylor. Lascelles, Captain Salah over Haaland as Liverpool fan, will play it safe. They're both safe options, to be honest. I don't really understand that question. I'm currently going for Salah, but it could switch to Haaland, so I'm not going to say one is definitively better than the other. I think they're both great options, and there's a reason why the poll is very, very close on my YouTube channel. Who's the best replacement for Watkins and Bowen? For Watkins, it'd be Isak or Darwin. For Bowen, it'd be Mbuma. If you have Mbuma already, then I'd probably say Gordon. Isak for Watkins, yeah, I'm not against that at all. Would you do Mbuma, Diaz, and Isak for Bowen, Eze, and Watkins for -4? Yes, but I'd honestly be inclined to keep Bowen and not go for Diaz, or to go from Bowen to Gordon instead of Diaz. Bench order for Lascelles, Archer, and Gay, the way you said it. Saka and Palmer in for Wood-Prowse and Eze for -4? Yes, would be my answer. Yeah, look, Saka's a great player. He's got, 17 goal contributions in 19 games this season in all competitions, but he's my 4th best captaincy option. I'm not going to just captain him because of the Arsenal factor. I still think Salah and Haaland are better choices this week. My current prediction is 4-1 Man City. It could even be 5 or 6. It really depends, because if Spurs make some tactical tweaks, are a bit more cautious, I think, in their pressing, and a bit more, how do I say this? If they just adapt a little bit to the way Man City play, then of course they can get a result. But I think Man City will win by at least 2 goals. I'm going to go for 4-1. That's my current prediction. And look, I wouldn't mind if Spurs got a result, like a draw, because it means Man City drop more points. When is the best week to use the wild card? There's not a definitive answer, but I think for people who still have it, you'd be looking at around Gameweek 17 or just after 18 and navigating that period. But yeah, I think around Gameweek 17 would be a good time. Hi Dylan, some weird idea. What do you think about Watkins, Bowen, Asula to Nunez and Mbuma, Rodriguez for a hit, then bench boost Areola, Gay, Taylor, Rodriguez? To be honest with you, I don't think that's a great bench boost in terms of the players that are there. Areola's fine. Gay's also not too bad, but I can see what you're doing there. I mean, this week it looks all right, the bench boost, but I'm not so sure if it's worth selling all those players. You'd probably want Watkins and Bowen back, or you're going to get rid of these players anyway, like Rodriguez, so I'm not so sure. Not going to lie now, I look at Nunez, I do like that move. Yeah, the underlying numbers are there. Nunez is very frustrating, but I think I've only had him in 1 week in FPL. I bought him for Wilson last week, just before the World Cup, and he got me 12 points, or 13 points. So yeah, I think Darwin, let's wait and see. Wilson out for how many weeks? It's not, completely set in stone, but he could be out basically until Gameweek 18. So Isak could start most games there, if not all, up until that blank, and then around Gameweek 19 you could see Wilson back. But I also saw an update recently where Wilson could be available even sooner than expected, but it all depends on if the physios give the all clear. Question is, do I get Nunez in over Mbuma? I'd rather go for Mbuma, to be honest. Yeah, but to be fair with Spurs, even last season they did lose at the Etihad. They were 2-0 up and lost 4-2 in the end. I just think the way that Spurs play with Postecoglou, it plays into City's hands. If it's a Conte or Mourinho managing with a defensive line, playing on the counter-attack, that's the type of team that City mainly struggle against. So yeah, they can win the game, but I think the chances are very slim. Getting a draw, of course, a bit more likely, and the City win is obviously the most likely outcome of them all. Cash to Gabriel or Tomiyasu this week or hold? Cash to Gabriel. Overall, Saliba's the best defender, but if you can't go to him, Gabriel. Is Cash and Watkins out a bad idea? No. Especially selling Cash has been awful. I think he's got 22 points in the last 10 game weeks. Thank you, Aaron, for another super chat. I appreciate it. The Watkins to Archer, Son to Salah -4 thoughts. As I mentioned earlier, I would do it. As much as I like Son, and generally I wouldn't recommend selling him for a -4. It is to Salah. And this week, I'd argue Salah is up there with Haaland as the best captaincy options. And also next week, Salah's the best captaincy choice. So, yeah, I think I'd do it. And with Watkins, it's almost 50-50 in terms of him playing. It's not ideal, by the way, and I'm not a big fan of starting Archer. But, and then next week, as you mentioned earlier, you got the likes of Hwang Hee-chan. You can sell him to Gordon or Palmer next week in Game Week 15. All it takes for Isak to pull up once during the game, and he's getting subbed. Yeah, he is fairly injury-prone, that is true. That's also something else that does put me off a little bit about him. Bench boost, Leno, Archer, Cash and Son. I mean, on paper, it's a good bench, but I'm just not so sure. There's always going to be opportunities to bench boost. That is a good one, just like the one mentioned earlier with Rodriguez and Taylor, but I don't know. I'm still a bit apprehensive. Alvarez worth holding? Potentially, but he has been poor in recent weeks, and I think there are better alternatives. So if you can do Alvarez to Darwin, Isak, then yeah, I think that's the way to go. And then Watkins in a few weeks' time. I'm probably selling one of them, Ramzinho. Which one? I'm not so sure. Is Alvarez still a good FPL pick? He's okay. I think he's still fairly decent, but there are better ones for the next couple at least. Top 3 best 4.7 million defenders in order. Tsimikas. Let me just get the list now, because I don't remember some of the prices off the top of my head. So let me just get this up. Yeah, Tsimikas, Lascelles, and the third one, if I can give you one name right now, might not be a great long-term option, but yeah, I'd say Tomiyasu. As things stand, he's in great form, and it looks like he's won the spot from Ben White. So yeah, that would be my top 3 right now. Mikalenko is also a good shout. Start one from Borro, Lascelles or Taylor. Lascelles. Good afternoon, Victor. Thank you very much. Big up to Kenya. Start Son or Wood. I just go for Son. Hi, Dylan. Would you start Taylor over Cash? Yeah, I probably would. Taylor, Archer, Trippier, Gay, Hwang Hee-chan, bench order. Currently have Archer, Trippier, Chan benched. Bench order. Well, Trippier will be first. Then it'd be Taylor. Then it would be Archer, then Hwang Hee-chan. Maybe I'm backing Arsenal a bit too much for the clean sheet, because if Wolves score, Hwang Hee-chan is likely to be involved. Buy Gordon or Palmer. Gordon for me. Palmer's absolutely fine though. Should I play Lascelles over Cash? I mean, I probably would. I've made the switch during the stream. Prashant says Son to Salah and Bowen to Palmer. Bowen move is to cover negative in the bank. Both are free transfers. Yeah, I think that's absolutely fine. Start Mitchell, Cash, or buy new good defender. I'd probably buy a new defender if you can for free. So an Arsenal defender will be top of the list. Then you're probably looking at Lascelles, Trippier, Tsimikas. Those are probably the next best options. Worth selling Saka for Mbumo? No. Mitchell to Tsimikas or save transfer? Mitchell to Tsimikas. Yeah, it's worth it. Who's captain? Well, I'm going for Salah right now, but it could change to Haaland. I think they're the 2 best ones. I don't think there's a right or wrong this week, to be fair. No, I mentioned that earlier. It's not a bad idea. Saka for Son. Yeah. Good transfer for free. For a hit, I'm not so sure if I'd do it this week, but free, yeah. Free to start off Saliba, Gabriel, Pinnock, Trippier and Tsimikas. I'd go for Saliba, Trippier and Tsimikas. It's tricky because you do have Pinnock against Luton. You could arguably start him over Trippier. I wouldn't go for double Arsenal defence with your setup. You've got a very good defensive line this week. You could even start all 5 of them. I think I'd go for Saliba, Tsimikas and Pinnock, dare I say. Dylan, if Bowen isn't in the squad again this week, would he be a sell next game week? Well, the next game would be on Tuesday, or in midweek. The deadline's on Tuesday, so it's tricky, I think, with Bowen, because you just don't want to have these doubts, basically. And that's why, right now, I'd be more inclined to sell than hold after that Moyes press conference. I discussed all of this yesterday as well. If City score 5, what makes you captain Salah? Because I still expect Liverpool to score probably 3 goals, and Salah can still be heavily involved in that. And yeah, City might score 5. Doesn't mean Haaland scores all 5 of them directly. My prediction is 4-1 City at the moment. It's kind of between that and 3-1. And as for Liverpool, 2 or 3-0. It's a tricky one, I think, overall. Salah has the midfielder advantage. Of course, extra point for scoring a goal, getting a clean sheet. So let's wait and see. Bowen or Diaby to Mbeumo? Well, ideally it'd be Diaby to Mbeumo, but with the injury doubt, Bowen might have to be sacrificed. It's a very tricky situation to be in. I'm going to make a final decision very soon because it doesn't look like we're getting any updates before the deadline as we first anticipated, which is a shame. It looks like Villa are going to wait as long as possible to basically see if Watkins can play tomorrow. But yeah, no news, unfortunately, on Watkins. I thought we would get something. I'm going to still have a look just in case, but I don't think we'll get anything. Still having a look. Yeah, absolutely nothing so far. Still having a look right now, and yeah, absolutely nothing. If you see anything, be sure to let me know. Just be careful in terms of, you know, the sources you get your news from. Best goalkeeper pair, I like Raya and Areola. I think they rotate well. Cash or Baldock, I'd go for Cash. Who would you start? I'd go for Taylor there, Daniel. Any news on Watkins or Bowen? Nope. No news from yesterday, since yesterday. Bowen surely starts, right? I mean, yeah, you'd hope so if you hold on to Bowen, but yeah, it's a tricky one. What will you do with Watkins? Like I said 10 minutes ago, I am tempted to sell him to Darwin, keep Bowen, and sell Diaby to Mbeumo. And look, to be fair, I could just get rid of both of my injury doubts now and buy those same players. Darwin or Isak? I mean, I'm personally more likely to go for Darwin, so that'll be my answer. But it is team dependent. If you want someone for the next 3, go for Darwin. If you want someone a bit longer term, whilst Wilson is out, probably Isak. So just depends what you're looking for. Eze replacements or play Archer or Maguire? Well, I would replace Eze and I'd go to Gordon or Palmer. If you can afford Mbeumo, then go to him. For this round, it'd be Gordon. Who to start, Cash or Mitchell? I would go for Cash. Bruno Fernandes for Saka and Watkins for Darwin -4. I'd say yes. Alvarez start, says Prabesh. Yeah, I think so. Not guaranteed, but yeah. Cash or Mitchell? That has been covered. Banerjee says start 4 from Mikalenko, Gabriel, Pal, Simicas, Gay. So basically bench 1. I would bench Gay. Is Bowen to Gordon good? Yeah. Best replacement for Bowen with 8.4 million in the bank. Already have Mbeumo. I would probably say Gordon. Yeah, probably Gordon. Should I start Gay, Lascelles, or Cash? I would go for Lascelles. Yeah, Lascelles. Watkins or Isak? Isak right now. No team changes, Dylan. I have already got rid of Diaby to Mbeumo. I will make the changes. I will make the changes. It's either Diaby or Bowen making way for Mbeumo. And then the other move could be Watkins to Darwin Nunez. Thank you, Aranya, for the super chat. I appreciate it. My 11, Anana, Turner, Lascelles, Simicas, Baldock, Bell, Burn, Mbeumo, Salah, Rashford, Bowen, Bruno, Haaland, Alvarez, Mabama. 2 free transfers, 0.4 million in the bank moves. Okay, if I were you, so you also have Rashford. I'd want to sell him, but you have Mbeumo. Sorry, you have Bowen as well. And you've got Bruno Fernandes. Oh, Jesus. I think, despite the injury doubt, I think I'd sell Rashford and I'd go to Mbeumo, use those funds to upgrade Alvarez to Darwin Nunez. I think that's what I'd do, Aranya. And you could even take a -4 hit and then use that to also sell either Bruno or Bowen, depending on your pick, to Saka. So I think that's what I'd do, actually. I'd do Rashford to Saka. I think you can afford this, by the way. Be sure to let me know if you can't. Bowen, dare I say? Yeah, Bowen to Mbeumo. And I would also do Alvarez to Darwin. Yeah, you should have enough money for that. Let me know what you think of that, Aranya. -4 hit to bring those 3 players in. And now I'm going to go back to the poll. Turner for Raya, 100%. Diaby for Rodrigo, says Nathan. Fair enough. I want to do Turner to Raya. I might not be able to now, unfortunately. I'm just stuck with this Areola guy all the time. It is very frustrating. But yeah, in terms of this poll, most of you are going for Bowen, 40%. It's actually really close to, I mean, it's literally neck and neck with Watkins. I mean, yeah, it also depends on teams. Some of you might not have Bowen in the first place or Watkins, so it is what it is. I have ended that poll. I'm going to put one more, or at least maybe there could be a few. We do have 17 minutes left until the deadline. So the next poll I'm going to put out is basically my transfer plans, I think. And then we can put a captaincy one, which is going to be a big topic this week. Salah versus Haaland. It's going to be very interesting to say the least. But yeah, let's actually go through this. All right, so which player would you rather sell for Mbeumo? And I have put this poll out a few days ago, but things have changed since then. So yeah, Diaby or Bowen? I'm guessing I know what the answer is going to be, but it's interesting to see what you say. We do have over 230 people watching, so as you can tell, people are engaged at the moment in FPL with all the injuries happening. Let's be sure to get this stream to over 200 likes. We are basically 37 away, so let's be sure to rack that up to 200 plus. It'd be massively appreciated. Hopefully I haven't missed the super chat there. Okay, good. We're all caught up there. So yeah, Palmer, Gordon, Alvarez, Watkins start free. Gordon, Watkins and Alvarez. I'd probably bench Palmer this week, which does seem strange because he has been good in the big games. If he gets a penalty, things do get inflated. Yeah, wow, yeah, Bowen is winning the vote, 59%. Not too surprised, based on his injury problems. Pardon, but yeah, block nose is annoying. It's pretty much going, but yeah, gotta keep that in check. So yeah, a lot of you are saying sell Bowen instead. It is a shame. Ideally, I wanted to keep Bowen, but he might have to be the sacrificial lamb. What was wrong with Watkins? Emery talked about this. He was left out of the squad the other day because he had a injury. He felt some pain, and as a result, he was rested. And Emery also built upon that in the Friday press conference, saying that he is a doubt for Sunday. So yeah, he's injured. Thank you, Aranya. I already have Mbeumo. Any other suggestions? Let me see what you said. Yeah, Mbeumo. Well, then I'd just keep it simple then. I'd probably just do Rashford to Saka and then Alvarez to Darwin for free. And then you can also, if you want to take that -4 hit and you want to get rid of Bowen, I'd sell Bowen to Gordon. And that's it. I think that's very, very simple stuff. You also have a lot of money in the bank to make other moves. You can even do Bruno to Son in the coming weeks. But I think that double up in United attack is just not worth it. Despite their recent upturn in form offensively, not worth it. So yeah, cash to Tommy. He's in great form. He is. I'm not really sure about him long term because he is injury prone. There's also rotation with Ben White and Zinchenko on both flanks. But at the moment, it's all good. Worth doing Jay Alvarez and Kearney out for, is that Mbeumo, right? And Asula. Yeah, I think it is worth it. Who to put first on the bench? Maguire, Mabama, or Kabore? Probably Maguire. Gotta get those herbal remedies going. I've taken a lot, trust me. I can list you all of them after the deadline. I've done a lot, that's why I'm already feeling better. Best defense this week, 1 week punt. I'd say Arsenal are up there. So maybe Zinchenko or Tomiyasu as a 1 week punt look really good. I also like Trippier still. Tsimikas, Trent. So yeah, I think my answer would probably be Trent or Zinchenko as a 1 week punt. Saka's 4th on my list, behind Mbeumo, Haaland and Salah. Go for Haaland, Watkins, Alvarez trio by selling Trippier, or Haaland, Watkins before double game week. Which way? I think I'd just rather have Trippier and go for Haaland, Watkins. I think that's my preference. Start Hwang Hee-chan or Cash. Probably Cash, but it's not ideal this week. Tomiyasu or Zinchenko. No need to put in caps, but yeah, I'd probably go for Zinchenko right now. Who should I bench start amongst Lascelles, Cash, Borro, Diaby, Douglas Luiz? I don't know how many you need to bench there, but I would start Lascelles and Diaby from those lot. Isn't Bowen in the team for the Palace game? I'm sure he's been training. I haven't seen anything about him training, so let me know if you've seen anything, but yeah, I haven't seen any updates about him. Hopefully we can get something, but I very much doubt it. Haaland captain, I'm currently going for Salah, but yeah, I'm not against Haaland at all. I think it's 50-50 this week, honestly. I could switch it in the last minute or so. Best forward to get 5.5 million and under. You don't really have much there, do you? I think if Joao Pedro still at that price, is probably the best option of a bad bunch, but yeah, I'm not really too keen. Just in case, because I do have a feeling that the site could crash if we make transfers 5 minutes before the deadline. I might, make some switches now. So, yeah, 5.5 million under. Probably Joao Pedro is my favourite. But then again, what I'm looking to do is just have that budget option in like Archer or Semenyo, and then have two proper forwards like Isak, Darwin, etc. I answered that Saka question. I'm not going to go for that again. What's wrong with Cash? There are doubts if he's going to play by some Aston Villa fans. I also think he's one booking away from suspension, so they might make sure that he doesn't get that booking against Bournemouth and plays against Man City. Salah or Darwin captain? It'd be Salah. Palmer or Sterling for Bowen? Palmer. Start Archer versus Burnley or Gordon? Gordon. Start bench Lascelles or Cash? I'm going for Lascelles right now. Leaning towards the -4 now with Watkins and Bowen out just because fixtures look so good with Darwin and Mbeumo. Yeah, I mean, I could do both of them for free. So some of you might be thinking, what the hell are you waiting for? But it's just, ideally, I'd want to sell Diaby instead of Bowen. And I do like Bowen long term. Same with Watkins, but it is what it is. But I get that. Okay, so I'm starting Lascelles, Douglas Luiz and Diaby. Can I bench any of them? Well, you can, but I'd just start what you're going for right now. I think you're absolutely settled there. Bench one, Gabriel, Trippier or Cash. I'd bench Cash. I think that's quite simple. I'd start Gabriel and Trippier. Isak or Darwin. I mentioned the pros and cons for both of them earlier. Any spamming, by the way, will be timed out, so don't do it. But yeah, look, over the next 3 it's Darwin. A bit longer term, whilst Wilson is out, it's Isak. If I'm selling Watkins now, over the next 10 minutes, it's probably to Darwin. So that's my answer. Best Watkins replacement below 7 million. Probably Solanke. Soucek keep this week? Yeah, you probably keep Soucek. He's in form. Scored in 5 consecutive games. Do I prefer him over Palmer, Gordon, or even Hwang Hee-chan? No, but he's all right. I'm going for Salah, you can see on screen, but it's honestly 50-50. I'll probably put a poll out very soon if possible. So yeah, a lot of these questions we have answered already. Cash or Akanji to start? I'd go for Cash. I don't think either keep a clean sheet, but if Cash starts, he's more likely to get an attack in return. Just on Bowen, Maguire to sack up Pinnock, no Mbeumo and taking the points from Maguire and running. I think that's pretty sensible. Obviously, with Mbeumo, sometimes when you get these kind of no-brainer transfers, you kind of think, seems a bit too good to be true, and generally it doesn't go right. So let's see. Start Mitchell or Archer? I'd go for Archer. Is Alvarez a good transfer? Yeah, I think so, around that time. But from now until game week 18, you'd say Isak or Darwin look the best. Edison or Areola start? I'd go for Areola this week. So yeah, now time to finally sort out my team before the site crashes. I also have the app ready just in case. 61% of you are saying sell Bowen. Fair enough. And then yeah. Now these are my final transfer plans, I think. I'm going to see if I can put in a poll. If not, I'll just stick with the captaincy. But yeah, I could be looking at 2 transfers. Let's see if I can do this. It's going to be a bit annoying. Mbeumo and Darwin. Let's see if I can do this. Bowen, Watkins. And yeah, we do have a lot of people watching. We are 15 likes away from 200. Be sure to smash the like button. It'd be massively appreciated. Yeah, the other one will be Diaby, Watkins to Mbeumo, Darwin. Same thing. I mean, a lot of them will be similar, I guess. Isak, I'll include him in one of the options. What else? I mean, I also was looking at Areola too, upgrading Areola. So yeah, Turner and let's say Bowen to Raya and Mbeumo. Anything else I could do here? I mean, Cash, I could go to Sinchenko as well. So yeah, oh yeah, there was the Cash and Bowen one. Oh yeah, that's the one that maybe some people will like. Cash, Bowen to Trippier. and Mbeumo, but I might be priced out of that now, actually, come to think of it, yeah, because he did go up by 0.1 million. So, yeah, it's probably just Zinchenko then instead. Zinchenko and Mbeumo. So those are my final transfer plans, I think. I don't think I'm going to take a hit. I'll probably stick with 2 free transfers. Let's see how it all goes. Be sure to cast your vote. Mbeumo or Doku, it's Mbeumo. Alvarez to Isak, yep. Who do I keep first on the bench? Cash or Borro? Cash. Start Watkins or Gordon? I'd go for Gordon in general this week. Diaby to Palmer or Gordon? Gordon. Ward-Prowse or Palmer? Palmer. Start Dean or Gay? I would start Luca Dean. Should I sell Watkins to Nunez for a hit, Dylan? It's tricky because there is still a chance of Watkins starting. I'd probably go for it. And you can always make the reverse switch in game week 16 or 17. Yeah, you're mainly looking at 17, 18 for that move, yeah. Who do I keep first on the bench? Cachaparo, I covered. Start Adingra or Lascelles? I'd go for Lascelles. OK says, will Watkins start? I honestly don't know. It's 50-50. My initial gut feeling was yes, but I might be wrong. Who do I keep first on the bench? Cachaparo, yeah, you've asked that again. Start Sanchez or Areola? I would go for Areola. Best wildcard goalkeeper, David Raya. And you can have Areola's backup. Isak, Darwin or Alvarez? I'm currently favouring Darwin. A lot of you are saying Bowen and Watkins to Boom and Darwin. So, yeah, I mean, it does seem simple, right? 2 orange flag players. Just do it. Just do it, mate. Maybe I will. Bench 1, Trippier or Tsimikas. I'd bench Trippier there, unfortunately. Let's see, we're getting a lot of repeat questions, so just going to try and go for some different stuff. Mitoma to Soucek. I'm not completely against that, but I do prefer Gordon and Palmer. What are your thoughts on Elanga as a punt? I mean, he has been okay. Same with Morgan Gibbs-White. I think over the next 3 they look good, but once again, Gordon and Palmer, better long-term options. Archer or Baldock first on the bench. I'd go for Archer. Captain Haaland, Darwin, Mbeumo, Son or Diaby. Haaland. Palmer for Mbeumo. Look, ideally I wouldn't sell Palmer, but I think Mbeumo is an upgrade, so yes. Start Taylor or Lascelles? Probably Taylor this week. Watkins to Isak, Darwin, or Bowen to Gordon? I'd say Watkins to either Isak or Darwin, depending on your preference. Start Lascelles or Diaby? I would go for Diaby this week. Decide on my move, Bowen to Mbeumo. We'll sell Watkins for Darwin next week if he's still out. Save the hit for another day. Yeah, I can see what you mean. If it was for a hit, I definitely wouldn't be looking to sell both of them. But because I've got 2 free transfers, I've got that luxury to be able to sell both of them and not have the headache. But honestly, I would not be surprised if Bowen and Watkins started, and that would be a huge, huge issue for me. But yeah, it's literally now 4 minutes left. I've got to make some transfers, otherwise I'm going to cry. So yeah, I think I'm going to make the moves. If we actually go to my team, yeah, I think Bowen and Watkins out is what I'm going to do. I can always bring Bowen back in for Diaby next week. It's not a huge issue. So yeah, I think I'm just going to do it. Darwin in, and also bring in Mbeumo. And I'd still have, what, how much in the bank? 2.6 million? Looks pretty decent. Looks pretty decent. So yeah, we've literally got 3 minutes left until we lock in. The site could crash. If it does, it might be panic stations on this channel. But yeah, I mean, Watkins for me is ideally a long-term hold, to be quite honest with you. That's my big issue with it. Turner out, Raya in. Yeah, I do like that. That was my original plan, but unfortunately, I'm not going to do that. Yeah, I think Alvarez is maybe slightly getting slept on, but hasn't been great in the Premier League recently, especially in terms of output. His overall performances haven't been too good either. But yeah, Darwin and Mbeumo does seem like the most sensible thing to do. And then, yeah, with the money in the bank, Diaby to... I can even go to Son, couldn't I? Oh, no, I'm a bit sure of that. But yeah, Diaby to Bowen next week. I think that looks pretty good. Yeah, you know what? I think I'm just going to go for this. I mean, it's not really ideal. And I could always bring Watkins back as well if I really wanted to. Yeah, I will lose value in both players, unfortunately. But yeah, I think that's probably the way the cookie crumbles. So yeah, I think the way it's going to go... Bowen. Oh, mamma mia. Yeah, I think the 2 free transfers does save me a little bit. I'm going to take this luxury and go for both transfers. Not ideal, not what I wanted when I first started out this week, but yeah, Darwin and Mbumo could come in. So let's wait and see how it all pans out. How it all pans out indeed. Thank you very much, Sophia. As he says, like the stream. Let's be sure to get this to over 200 if we haven't already. Yeah, I mean, a lot of you are pretty... Should have sold Diaby instead of Bowen. I mean, I haven't done it yet, and that is my ideal preference. I don't know, I just have a sneaky feeling about Bowen. I just don't trust David Moyes. I really don't. I mean, it would save a transfer in the long term, I think. Yeah, I know it sounds crazy, but you know what? I think I'm going to sell Diaby instead of Bowen. Just say yes or no what you think in the live chat. But it is time to make the transfer, otherwise I'm going to be locked out. Scenes when Bowen starts. Exactly, exactly that. So yeah, I think I'm going to go for this. Go for Mbumo and Darwin. I'm going to keep Bowen. It's very risky, but I think it could pay off. Let's go for it. I'm done deliberating. Let's see. My bench is also sorted. Captaincy. Haven't even given it too much thought, really. But Salah, Haaland, I mean, I discussed it all week, but today I haven't been able to think about it too much. I do have cash coming in. I could always bring in Anderson first on my bench. Yeah, I think that's pretty sensible stuff. I think I'm just going to stick with it. I know some of you might be disagreeing, but yeah, I've just done it. I'd rather keep Bowen long term. I don't think he's going to be out for too long. Yeah, I sold Diaby. I did. So that's it. We are locked in. I love making late transfers. I don't know what it is. I have confirmed it. Haven't I? Have I not? Yeah. Yeah, Darwin, Haaland up front. We've got a midfield 5 of Salah, Saka, Gordon, Bowen, Mbumo, and also Simic, Saliba, Lascelles as the back 3, Areola in goal, and the bench is Turner, Cash, Anderson, Archer. When can I finally get rid of the likes of Cash and Turner? I don't know when, but these injury problems always persist. I've got rid of Diaby against Bournemouth. That could be a mistake. Let's wait and see. Let's just wait and see. But if Bowen starts, I think that could be a huge boost, and I'd be very happy to keep him for the next couple of weeks. I've got Cash to come in if needed. Haaland's my vice. Salah's my captain. Let me know your thoughts on the team. I'll go through your questions now. I did the same as you. I'm scared. It is what it is, you know. I think if Bowen plays, it's a big boost. But of course, he has that 50% chance of starting. So you know what? You can't really complain too much if he doesn't play. Yeah, we are locked in. Thank you, Happy Human. Let's see if it's a good decision. Let's see. Sometimes good decisions are punished. Hey, Dylan, favorite music genre? I like a bit of everything, but probably my favorite is rock. I like 80s music a lot, even though I'm not born in the 80s or 70s. But yeah, I love 80s music. I even like some kind of techno stuff from 2000s. Even some rap, although mainly the kind of 90s and 2000s stuff. But yeah, a bit of everything, really. Even Latin music as well. Thank you, Soldier Boy. Bowen or Cash first on the bench? Well, I would have Bowen over Cash, and that's what I've done myself. Scenes when Watkins starts and Bowen doesn't. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, that could happen as well. If Watkins even features in the Bournemouth game, I wonder how people will feel. Oh no, it's possible. It really is. But as long as Watkins doesn't start, I'm quite happy with it. And it's kind of a short-term pump with Darwin, really. Dylan, please at least spare the heart rate. Do transfers 2-3 minutes in hand. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a pattern because I go through the questions and comments, I realise I only have 5 minutes left, and then I kind of overthink the transfers and I leave it for the last minute. Like I said already, Adil, it's difficult because he might still be available for the midweek, and we just don't know. There's a lot of different things that could go either way. With Bowen, yeah, he might be a sell in the weeks to come, and I'm not really too against that because I can go to Palmer instead, and that also opens up even more funds for me to upgrade the goalkeeper, the forward line, etc. But yeah, I'd say generally for most people he would be a sell if he does miss out again. But look, he's not going to be out forever, let's put it that way, and things change so quickly. Best time to wildcard, if you haven't used it already, probably around Game Week 17, so you can navigate Game Week 18, or you could play it just after the blank in 18, so you can dead end your team into the blank and then go out of it again. Rock, yeah. Yeah, Black Sabbath. I've been hearing a lot of Black Sabbath recently. There was a documentary, I think, just 2 weeks ago, and that kind of got me playing the songs again. Also, Swedish House Mafia. I haven't really heard that. I will check it out. But yeah, like some dance too. Can you count jazz? James Brown, you know, good music. Will KDB be a must after he's back? Not really. I don't think he's a must with his injury record, the rotation as well. Will it be an option to consider? Yes, but not a must. Yeah, potentially, but it is what it is. I've done it. It's done. I got so lucky not owning Son. He blanked 3 in a row, and next week I'm bringing him in. Yeah, I think going for Son would be a nice touch. And honestly, looking at the way my team is panning out, I could even do Bowen to Son fairly soon. It might require downgrade elsewhere. You know, maybe downgrading cash or something like that. But I could do something like that and go for Son. And I'd be very happy with that midfield, to say the least. We're in Southcheck last minute. I'll regret this move. Well, good luck. He is in form, but I would expect his goal-scoring streak to come to an end. Bang on with the Bowen decision. I would have kept Watkins. I think the only transfer should have been turned for Raya. Fair enough, fair enough. I mean, yeah, I can see what you mean, but I'm really going for the fixtures over the next 3 for Liverpool. And Darwin, it's the best time to get him, I think, with Diogo Jota out. And look, with Watkins, I am expecting Villa to struggle against Bournemouth, and Watkins might not even start. Then you've got Arsenal, Man City, and either way, I think I'll buy Watkins back eventually. So it is what it is. I've been burned by selling Watkins before. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. So Captain Sterling as a differential, got to catch up. Good luck, but yeah, Sterling, let's wait and see. I mean, he has been in great form recently. Start 2 of Lascelles, Cash, Mitchell. I mean, the deadline's already gone, mate, but if it were me, I would have gone for Lascelles and probably Cash, yeah. Look at my team. I'll try to now. United vs Newcastle game update. Heard United missed their flight due to bad weather. Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of rain. That game could have been cancelled in the first place against Galatasaray. But yeah, I actually don't know about that. Would you have started Hwang Hee-chan or Mikalenko? Worst F1 season yet? F1 Fantasy. I guess so. It was very boring, very stale, because Verstappen captain every single week, basically, or the DRS boost. And also so many chips that you kind of forget to play some of them, in my opinion, especially if you're not an engaged manager. Captain Salah, Vice Captain Darwin, good luck. Forgot about F1 Fantasy Team, barely made changes. Same here. Same here. I still finished quite high, I think, a good rank, but I wasn't even that bothered. Bridgerton says Bowen and Nketiah to Palm and Darwin. Bowen and Romero to Saka and Mikalenko did the first set of transfers. Yeah, I think that's all solid. Twister Parkypus's team as well. Good stuff. I like that. Yeah, your team is in good shape. A lot of people were saying to sell Bowen. And to be honest, I probably should have, but I'm kind of hoping that keeping him is a form of or something different to the rest of the pack, really. I'm seeing a surprise amount of Haaland captainers on Twitter. Yeah, I mean, look, Haaland will generally be the most captain option anyway, but it will be close between those two. They will both have over 1 million captainers, I think. Try listening to HECQ or his softer stuff. Yeah, I'll try to remember that. I'll probably have to go back to the stream and make a note of that name. Alisson injury means I'm stuck with Leno. Yeah, not ideal, in my opinion, but goalkeeper is the least relevant position in FPL. Thing is, doesn't Darwin play Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday? Yeah, true. That is true. I mean, look, it is what it is. I've already done it, but I was still expecting to start all 3 games. Started and Edison over Areola. Wish me luck. Good luck, mate. Let's see how it goes. Yeah, United now taking 3-hour coach journey today for the 8 p.m. kickoff. Oh dear. Yeah, that's not looking good for United. A lot of people would back Newcastle in that game. Yeah, I do like F1. I got back into it recently with the Verstappen-Hamilton title fight. That's the best season in ages, but yeah, generally since the hybrid era, it's been boring. It's Hamilton winning all the time, then it's now Verstappen. So, and even before that, it was Vettel dominating. So really, the last time, I mean, yeah, to be fair with Vettel, we had 2 good years in 2010 and 2012. But yeah, I think generally the 2000s, the early 2000s and late 90s, I mean, that's peak F1 for me. Posted my game week plan in Discord. Yeah, I'll try to go for it like I said. A Martinelli start. Yeah, I'd expect that. Went for Salah captain. Good luck, Luis. Sold Bowen for Diaz. I do prefer Bowen overall, to be honest, and that's why I'm still kept him. I don't know why I keep keeping him, to be honest, but yeah, we do still have over 150 people watching, so that's definitely great to see. And we're 22 likes from 250. Dare I say, can we get to 250? If you haven't already, smash the like button. I'm going to end this poll now. And most of you said to sell Bowen and Watkins to Boomer and Darwin, but I ended up selling Diaby instead. Let's see if that's a masterclass or a disaster class. But yeah, the deadline passed 8 minutes ago. Son to blank, I wouldn't mind that. But then again, Spurs getting a result, I'm not really against that this week. No worries, John. Good to see you here. Just up to your YouTube channel now. Thank you very much. I've chosen Johnston over Areola. Yeah, this week I would have gone for Areola, but then again, Areola's been useless this season. I think I finished high in your F1 league, though. Yeah, to be honest, I haven't even checked the league, to be honest. I'll have a look. Do you believe Hangi Chan versus Arsenal was a better choice than Mikalenko versus Forest? I would have gone for Mikalenko, as I mentioned earlier, so no, I don't. Hangi Chan is the most likely Wolves player to score, but I would back Arsenal for the clean sheet. My prediction is 2-0. I mean, it depends on the week. You know, we now have so many deadlines in quick succession, but typically it's a deadline stream and reaction stream for FPL. And then for UCL Fantasy, there's a deadline stream. So there can be 2 to 3 streams per week. And then there's videos most days pretty much. Sometimes it's every single day. There can be the odd double upload or triple upload as well. Elanga plus Wood or Jensen and Wissa? I would have gone for Jensen and Wissa this week. No way saying. I mean, I hope he doesn't. Like I said, I think Arsenal keep the clean sheet, and I hope they do. Best bone replacement, if having Boomer and Palmer, Gordon. How to get Haaland back in next game week? I don't know your team, so it's impossible for me to say. Thanks and best of luck this game week. Likewise, thank you very much. I hope he doesn't. I hope he blanks, but yeah, I'm kind of fearing the worst. I've got a bad history of selling Watkins, at least this season. Wang or Palmer transfer in next game week? I'd rather go for Palmer still. That'd be my answer. Thank you to those for watching. We have been streaming for 2 hours and 18 minutes. If you haven't already, smash the like button and subscribe for new. Let's try to get this stream to 250 likes and also get closer to 22k subscribers. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram, DylanRCM, and check all the links in the description below for the Patreon and channel memberships. We have over 50 channel members and also a lot of patrons as well. And there's also the Discord server where we have, I think, 500 members now, 400. We're looking to get to 1,000 by the end of the season. That's our goal. And also the UCL Fantasy and FPL leagues. Then the description of all my videos. So for UCL Fantasy, if you want to check the league, go to my UCL Fantasy content. It'll be in the description there. And for FPL, you can check it here in this description. There's also a link to Drafthound, which I'd highly recommend. I went through it earlier and also in the team selection video. Would you have done Alvarez to Darwin, keeping Watkins? Yeah, I think so. But I do back Alvarez to do well today or tomorrow against Tottenham. Thank you, Lewis. See you very soon. And also to Wei saying thank you very much. It's been a pleasure talking to all of you. And also a lot of people here today because so much to discuss. Let's see if I regret the Watkins sale and keeping Bowen. Oh my God, there's so much to really discuss this week. We are 9 likes away from 250. Be sure to plug away and get to that. Also, huge shout out to those that sent in super chats today. That is massively appreciated. If you want to continue the discussion, the Discord server, Twitter and Instagram are the places to be at after the deadline. And if possible, I'll try to do a reaction stream tomorrow and record a team selection for the Monday. The Tuesday deadline stream might be a problem, but I will keep you updated and see what I can do about that because the next week or so is going to be very, very hectic, to say the least. Take care, enjoy the football. I wish you all the best of luck for Gameweek 14 and the rest of the season. And I'll see you next time.